It's January 3rd, 2025. Happy New Year. I'm at Joel Pearl, and it's time to get in the weeds. It is a fabulous Friday morning, sunny in the city of Toronto, at least. We hope you're doing well. We hope you had a safe and happy New Year. Jeremy Lambert is here. We're ready. We're excited. We're going to jump for my love. I went a little too far. People don't actually know that song as much as they know the other one.
Hi, Jeremy. Jump? Don't they have a song? Jump?
Yeah, jump for love. Jump in.
Yeah.
That's how you get demonetized.
Okay. Are we going to get demonetized for that?
No, Jesus, no.
I was about to say.
Yeah, you're just singing the no, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
We had other people trying to, like Ken Bruno, who sends us a lot of stuff. He was like, hey, can you use the Pointer Sisters on your show today? I'm like, no.
We don't have Pointer Sister money. Are you kidding me?
I don't know who has Pointer Sister money. There's only one of them left. That's the thing. People don't realize this. There were 3 Pointer Sisters. Only one of them is still alive.
Wow. I mean, they're still sisters, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, one can make money. The other 2 are dead. Like, what do you want?
They could pay beyond the grave, right? Just like sprinkle some cash onto their grave or something. Like, here you go. Upgrade the plot of land that they're at. Upgrade the tombstone or something.
Just give them an LED tombstone.
Yeah. Here lies Pointer Sister A. Sorry, I don't know their name. Do their names like A to Z? Is that why they're Pointer Sisters? From point A to point Z?
It was Anita, June, and Ruth. Ruth is the one that's still alive. June and Anita.
Point A to point R.
Yeah. So like most of the way, just not the full point.
Okay. Do you think they sang like "I'm so scared" after everything?
Oh, buddy, everyone our age, our vintage.
Yeah.
Immediately, Jesse Spano. Immediately, I know you and Jensen talked about Spotlight. Everybody who is in our age group who knows Saved by the Bell, we're immediately like, come on. I'm so excited. I'm so scared. We've referenced this on our show multiple times too.
We love the Saved by the Bell here.
Love it. I immediately took to Blue Sky and posted that tweet, that GIF, and I was like, that's the new every week when this show starts, I am going to post that GIF. That's the one you're gonna get. I'm so excited. I'm so scared. Because who knows? Maybe Dynamite that week will be good. Maybe it'll be bad. That's why I'm scared, because I don't know what kind of box we're opening this week.
I heard this theme come on. I thought it was just, I was watching on Max. So I was one of the Max watchers. So I didn't know like if it was just like a Max exclusive. Like, here, only the people on Max get this. I'm so excited. I didn't know what was happening at first because the volume on it felt low. Was I the only part? You're an audio, you pay attention to this kind of stuff. Did the audio feel like low on the theme?
So I'm watching on Triller and it didn't, but I also think that song is mixed in a way where like it doesn't start
it starts kind of
instrumental low. Open, right? And then the voice comes in and the vocals are higher than the rest of the band, but yeah, like it's just the way that it's mixed back in the 80s. It just wasn't that loud.
Ken Bruno saying it was definitely low on Max. Louis saying audio was fine on my Max. I think it might just be like the song starts kind of low.
Yeah, the song it builds to the excitement.
Yeah. So like I thought like my TV was having audio issues. I was like, what is it? What's happening? Why isn't there no Dynamite theme song? So I turned it up a little bit. Yeah, and then it kicks into I'm so excited. I was cackling at this song. It's hilarious. What a hilarious song to use as the theme. I don't think it's bad or anything. I just think it's funny.
So full marks to Trevor Dame. And I'm actually surprised that you didn't get this because you cover all of the pressers and everything, but also it kind of at one point becomes in one ear out the other. At the Full Gear presser, someone asked Tony Khan what other like 80s music he'd like to bring back or 80s things he'd like to bring back.
I remember Tony saying this.
Yeah, and Tony said music. So Trevor Dame said Tony's asked if there's anything from the 80s he'd like to bring back. Tony said, quote, music. He has an idea for next year, which at the time was going into what would be this, that he doesn't want to say because it's so random. it's pretty out there, and we'll all know what Tony's talking about when it happens. Well, it happened, and yes, we're talking about it. And I don't know how people fully feel, because there's us who think it's the funniest, stupidest thing ever, and then there are other people who see it from like a wrestling business side of things, and they're like, man, that was a stupid idea because it doesn't entertain new viewers or whatever. Like, I get it. I know that there's a scope of our fans who are like, don't take it so seriously, but there are people who also cover the wrestling business from like a financial standpoint or from a is it growing standpoint, and like I get those arguments too. For me, it's just so funny to be like, really, Pointer Sisters, huh? Give me flashbacks to every cruise gig I ever worked where I had to do the black and white the black and white tie party and in the captain's circle, and you play and I'm so excited, and you're just like, what are we doing here? It was fantastic.
This was Tony Khan just throwing Max money around, slanging Max cock is what Tony Khan was doing here.
That's right. Max Cocker right there.
He's like, you know what I'm going to do? Just got to go with a Pointer Sisters song. No one's going to expect this. Let's go with this song as the first thing you hear on Max. It kind of ruled. Like I didn't have an issue with it. I think it was hilarious. I understand why people are like, this isn't wrestling. Like, it does feel weird as a theme song. Like, because you're so used to kind of the rock music or the rap music. So that's just what we've expected over the years. But like, does it really matter? Are people really turned off by a theme song? Honest question.
I don't think that people are necessarily turned off and like, oh, I'm never going to watch this again. But I think like the prevailing sentiment is like, this doesn't make it cool. Like, this doesn't make this show cool or hip or whatever.
It doesn't like,
well, this is like where someone had mentioned, one thing that WWE did kind of lean into is using more contemporary artists and using like Megan Thee Stallion, and who they're using Travis Scott for the new Raw stuff. There's an active plan to be using current musicians from all across different spectrums, right? NXT would use a lot of like hard rock and heavy metal stuff, and that gets one group of people excited. The rap and hip hop stuff gets another group stuff, and it's like people are saying it's wrestling, it's not cool, and it's true. Like, wrestling is not cool
anyway.
And then listen, we make fun of it all the time. There's still a bit of a like presentation coolness that you want to have, and I don't think that Pointer Sisters was the way to do it. I think it's hilarious. Again, like I'm so excited to laugh at this theme every week. I want to see, you know what I want to see? Because they're not going to use like the rap packages. And I mean WRAP, like when they do like last week on Dynamite, this happened. They're not going to show it with Pointer Sisters music underneath, because I would love, and I would pay extra money on Triller to watch a package of the Pointer Sisters I'm so excited in the background as Ricochet's using a pair of scissors to stab Swerve's head. And you're just like, this is so bad. And it's so good.
You know what would be perfect? Would be perfect. You know why this was perfect, I would say.
Because the whole show was 80s themed to begin with?
Now, you know why this song worked? Is they didn't have anybody talking over it. They actually just played the song. That's what was missing. That's what was missing. We needed, like an MJF promo and a John Moxley promo over the lyrics to really enhance it.
I now need MJF doing angry, yelly karaoke promo. So I'm so excited by the Pointer Sisters.
Honestly, like, I agree with Drew, who's in the chat, and he just says the song does not need to be a rock version. I do get having different songs for themes, but it's definitely an odd choice for me. The song doesn't fit with the opening video. That was kind of my thing, is like, It doesn't feel like this matches. Like, this video and this song don't feel like they actually like go together. You kind of mentioned it, but you're gonna do I'm so excited. At some point, like, Ricochet should be stabbing Swerve in the opening video package. At some point, like, Hangman burning down a house should be in the video package. Like, that doesn't really scream, oh, I'm so excited. Yeah, stab, stab, stab. I mean, maybe that's what people gets excited. It's I'm terrible with horror. Who's the what's that fucking thing?
Michael Myers?
Is that Michael Myers? Yeah.
Yeah.
Halloween. Yeah.
Halloween. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe
Carrie
that's where.
also.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's where it's
Psycho.
Psycho. Yeah, Psycho is what I was thinking of. I think Psycho. Maybe that's what it needs to like transition. I'm so excited. I'm so we so excited. I'm so we excited, and I just can't hide it. I know we. I know. We. I want to. We. That short's gonna be amazing, by the way.
I knew you were
I'm
going
gonna
for
slice that in. It's gonna be the stabbing over all of that. It's gonna be so good.
God damn it. Oh, as I'm having a coughing fit. Thank God I have a mute button next to me. Apologies, folks, for my coughing fits. I need to go to a walk-in, man. I got this cough that needs to go away. I'm not sick. I just have something that's right there. Anyway, yeah, someone's going to make that a thing, and it's going to be us. Frame rate was good on Max, even though I watched on Triller. Listen, for everyone who was like, oh, yeah, the Max quality is so amazing. Da-da-da. I'm like, it's always looked the same on Triller, and that was pretty good because it's always been streaming. Nothing big there. I mean, I went from watching Dynamite on Triller to having to watch TNA on Sportsnet 360 streaming. Buddy, that was a downgrade I didn't expect. I watched the episode of Impact on Sportsnet, and it did not look good. And I'm not saying that watching it on TNA Plus was ever amazing either, but like something was going on with Bell and their streaming platform because it did not look good. Whatever. The Dynamite looks good. They're happy with that. The show was a lot of fun. It was just the theme set a very weird tone for fans. Almost gets you off guard. I think maybe that was part of it. People are just gonna be like, the fudge? And then you go in and the show was good.
Jason Watkins saying, well, I agree. I think it was used to draw, and not sure if it was the song for that. The casual fan who might be on Max and came across this, I don't know, just spitballing ideas. I mean, maybe. I legitimately think that I kind of agree with Henry. It's just like, Tony just likes doing just random songs. Like, I just think it was.
Nobody stops him from this shit either. Like, no one says, like, boss, maybe you shouldn't. He's just like, who's gonna deal with this?
Yeah. It's fine. It's gonna grow. It's gonna be like, oh, you know what? This is actually fine. Like, we're gonna forget it. We're not gonna forget about it because we have to hear it every single week. But we're gonna stop complaining about it. I'm not even complaining. I think it's hilarious. I look forward to more of it.
Yeah, exactly. And like, you're gonna get Elton John back. He's already announced that he's gonna bring back Saturday Night's. So basically, AEW is now the '80s throwback promotion. Because they've got Pointer Sisters, they've got Elton John, they've got Cope, they've got Jeff Jarrett wanting a world title. They've got who else? MJF is gonna close down the local observatory unless you beat him in a skiing competition. Like, you got everything going on 80s in that.
Hell yeah, that would rule. The guy MJF he's got to challenge Moxley to the fiddle contest. I was on to something when the devil went down to Georgia. That's an 80s thing, right?
It's 60s.
Really? No way.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a 60s song.
60s?
Yeah, like late 60s.
1979.
Oh, it's 79. It's Charlie Daniels. You're right.
Yeah, I was about to say Charlie Daniels was it the 60s?
There have been many incarnations of the song. I forgot that Charlie Daniels was the original. But anyway.
Yeah, all right. So I was pretty close. 79, 80. We're a year off, So I think I was on to something with Devil Went Down to Georgia here.
I mean, yeah. But people are also mentioning the Outrunners. That's another great 80s.
Man, what happened to them?
They're the AEW World Tag Team Champions.
Oh.
Right? Right?
Like, I don't know if they like missed on the Outrunners. Like, I don't know if the Outrunners are gonna like boom business or anything. But man, they had something with them, and then they're just like off television they're on ROH last night, I'm pretty sure. So I guess there's that.
I'm pretty sure they lost to Shane Taylor Promotions.
They didn't. No way. They didn't have the Outrunners lose on ROH, did they?
I'm pretty sure there was an 8-man tag.
No.
No? I don't watch these things.
That would be stupid.
You think I watch the show? I have another Thursday.
They lost at World's End. They lost in that 8-man tag at World's End.
That's right. They did do that, didn't they?
Yeah, that was dumb. Why? Why do you have? What are we doing here? They were super over. and then they just disappeared and didn't do anything.
I think, and they were doing stuff with FTR too, and then that all
just stopped.
blew up because Cope was ready.
Cope, man, Cope.
That's what we're all doing just to get through all that's what we did in 2024. We coped.
They made sure that like you knew his new name was Cope. So there's this.
You remember that episode?
There's this annoyance.
Hold on. You remember that episode of Seinfeld where George Costanza wants to give himself a nickname? He wants to be T-Bone.
I don't watch Seinfeld, so no.
Well, that's what this was. Get Big E on the phone. He'll remember this. Okay. This was T-Bone. This was absolutely George sitting in the boardroom. They're like, it's right, T-Bone, and everyone's like, yeah, Cope. All right, woo. And here we are. We have to live with it.
You have to cope.
We have to cope. And see,
there's this WWE annoyance. I don't know if people pick up on it. I certainly do. Listen to Michael Cole. And now Corey Graves does it. It's basically the play-by-play guy. I don't know if Chesator does it as much. I certainly don't pick up on it as much as I do with Michael Cole and when Corey Graves is doing play-by-play. Tag. Listen to a tag team match. Tag. They call every single tag. And it's just tag. It's not like, oh, this person tagged in this person. It's always just tag. It is once you hear it and you start noticing it every single time, tag. That's what this felt like with Cope. Is like Excalibur had to say it every single time. Cope. There was no him. There was no that guy or anything. It was Cope every single time. I was like, all right, sure. It's Cope. All right. I get it. At the end of the day, he wants to change his name. It's his call, right? This is not I don't think Tony Khan went to him and was like, hey, make your name Cope. He filed for this trademark a while ago. So it's something that's kind of been in the works, I feel like. I think he wanted to do it because I don't know why. It is weird.
It's a 4-letter word, just like his old name was for 25 years. It's easy.
Right. I agree. But the weird part is he spoke so highly of being Adam Copeland. He's like, oh, I'm Adam Copeland. When I get a figure, it's Dad's name on it. It's not Edge. It's Dad's name on the figure now. It's like, it's so great just to be myself and be Adam Copeland. And then he just wants to be Cope, though. So it just feels like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I think his daughters got to an age where they either don't care what Daddy does anymore, or they were like, look, Daddy's name is on the figure. And they're like, that's nice. And he's like, I have to rebrand. And that's why we got back to Cope.
Fine. He's Cope. He's the same person.
Yeah, like Sean mentioned, Adam Copeland is a very pedestrian name, especially for professional wrestling. So to change your name,
Sexton Hardcastle.
Yeah, I could have called him Cope Hard. Sexton Cope
Hard. Hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If we had a sponsor, we'd throw to it right now because we could Cope Hard on it. It is what it is. I think it's silly as hell. I'm sure people are going to make fun of it. I'm sure he's going to make fun of it. I mean, you've already got Cope running around talking about, he should have been Cock. Yeah, I agree with Henry, by the way. Just call him Cock. Time Cock, Adam Copeland. He's already throwing around 80s, insults at Tej, being like, oh yeah, your face is ugly. And you're just like, huh? Okay, who wrote that for you? Don't let them do that again. But otherwise, he's just who he is. He's a 50-year-old Canadian dork hockey fan who wants to be a wrestler and has been a wrestler for the last, 27 years or whatever. It's fine. I just don't expect much out of it.
He's been a Maple Leafs fan his entire career or entire life. So
he knows
he's
what
used to
failure is all about.
Well, he's used to coping too. So,
He knows. That's listen, his best friend got smart and became a Tampa fan. At least he gets the bolts.
Cope. It's honestly hilarious. Excalibur was so excited to explain it too. He's like, don't adjust your television sets, everybody. He's now just Cope, the rated R superstar Cope.
Do you know what the worst part is? When they reunite the tag team, it's going to be Cope and Cage or Cage and Cope.
Cage. Nah, I think they're just gonna do CNC. That's what Cope was saying in interviews. He said, "Oh, we're gonna be CNC." I think that's all they're gonna do.
Cope and Christ. Cope and Christ.
Cope and Christ. Jeez.
It's just the way it is. Some of the chat earlier, actually, it was Jason who I like to chat with once in a while. He's asking about the SmackDown not airing in Canada tonight because Sportsnet lost the rights at the end of the year. It's going to be on YouTube as far as I remember. I think John Pollock had confirmed that recently. So keep an eye out on YouTube for tonight's SmackDown internationally. Netflix really wants Raw on Monday to be the debut, the first piece of content that the big deal sees. So internationally, they're just like, figure it out later. Canada's going to start with Netflix on Monday.
We're like 20 minutes into the show, Joel. We haven't done like thumbs up or anything.
I know. People know what to do here. Leave a thumbs up.
We're so excited to talk about AEW this week.
Jump for your thumbs up. Okay? Get the pyro, get the ballyhoo. There you go. There it is. Early this week because we're so excited. If you haven't already, like the video. And of course, you can subscribe to the channel. You should be subscribed. If you haven't already, what's wrong with you? If we want to get us to 16,000, let's do that. Let's get us up to 25,000 by the end of 2025. How about that? 25,000 in 2025. Pretty lofty goals, but we can do it. And you can donate a super chat. Any amount, get your question or statement read on the air. Go ahead, get us with that. And yeah. There you go. We did it. 20 minutes in. Do we go home now?
We got a lot to talk about.
Do we, though?
No, Dynamite was good.
Yeah. Actually, we should probably discuss the news that came out from the Big Boom AJ interview that Cultaholic did with Tom Campbell. Big Boom AJ slated to have a match at AEW Revolution in March. Hell yeah. Very Boom! Got my double chunk chocolate chip cookie ready. Boom! And we're all going to have a good time at Revolution in LA. That's going to boom! I was off my game. That's going to be the best pay-per-view ever at this rate. They're going to do that. Timeless Tony Storm will come back. You got everything. Mercedes is going to have a banger LA style wrestling match. Shit's going to be great. Moxley's going to take on Jeff Jarrett for the world championship. Buddy, we're going places on this show. AJ is somehow going to win the world title despite not being in the world title match. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
He should win the title. Why are we booking Big Boom against? He made it seem like it's going to be a tag team match. So what are we doing?
It's going to be him and the Rizzler versus another child.
Oh, could you imagine the Rizzler?
Hey, listen, who was it? Cone. John Cone's kid was a tag champion. Could do it.
Nicholas, yeah.
Yeah, let him beat the tag champions at the time. Private Party versus the Private Party did the stuff with the Costco guys before the pay-per-view. They did that one little segment. Let's go.
He should beat up the Young Bucks.
Oh, you know what? I got it. Make the Costco guys the AEW Trios champions. They should beat the Death Riders.
Oh, I'm for that. I like that.
Yeah. It's Big Boom AJ, Big Justice, and the Rizzler defeating Pac and Claudio and Wheeler Yuta.
Yeah, Yuta can take the loss. He loses all the time. He's a dick.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, and Rizzler is gonna pin Yuta.
Hell yeah. He's just gonna Riz face him, and then Yuta's just gonna be like, done.
Can't gonna knock him out.
Mox is like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I gotta beat Jeff Jarrett tonight. Like,
I think how Moxley sounds like voice box Kane. That's what he sounds like. Death Rizzlers. That's gonna be their name. Well,
we need this. The problem with this cough, it's like a wheezing.
Are you okay?
Cough. No, not at all. It's like a wheezing cough. That's the problem. So like every time I start to cough, more is like, again, I'm not sick. I just have this. I got to go to a walk-in after this, get something.
This is not the time for haircuts, Joel.
It's always time for haircuts.
I'm all for Big Boom, Big Justice, and Big Riz taking the AEW Trios titles. All for it. They ain't doing anything else with those belts, so why not put them on that? At least they're gonna be on like, TikTok before it gets banned, and social media and Fox Business.
It ain't getting banned. It ain't getting banned.
Oh, who cares? Fox Business and okay, I thought I froze that for a second. And Jimmy Fallon and all this stuff, they're going to be there with the titles. That's more than the Death Riders are doing with those things. They don't show up at all of those titles. I haven't seen those titles in like 3 months, I feel like.
I'm like, you can't put those titles in the same briefcase because that's a pretty small briefcase. No, but you need separate briefcases. They only carry one.
Well, they just stack them all in there. The titles are pretty like thin.
No, they're not. They're not that thin. You know better. They're not that thin.
It's a pretty big briefcase, though.
It's not that. No, it's a pretty thin briefcase.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like a Halliburton. It's small.
Tyrese
Halliburton. I get it. Yeah. Anyway,
you could carry those around.
That's true. Did you see the clip that was going around about how AJ broke his foot?
No.
So it's a very interesting story that he tells. He was during practice, he was on the top rope. This is ahead of Full Gear, like in the ring. And he goes to the top. He wants to see the point of view and all that stuff. And he's wearing his sneakers. And of course, and that's when it's so funny. Big Justice is also in the interview. And they cut to him and he's just like, what'd I tell you? What'd I tell you? And you've got Big Boom just being, yeah, you told me I shouldn't go up there in my sneakers. I should be wearing my boots and wrap my foot, blah, blah, blah. So then apparently it was like their time was up. More people were coming to the ring to work on their matches. So he went to go jump down. And when he landed on someone else's foot. And that's when he broke it. And I guess the other person was okay. But he went to medical and medical was like, we should get checked out. And he's like, I want to put on my boot and I want to wrestle this match. And medical was just like, but okay. And that was that. So that's how
you know why this like makes John Cena the GOAT even further. Like wrestling in sneakers is not easy. John Cena did it for years.
He also was never a top rope guy, but
the top rope with that leg drop and everything.
It's a second rope leg drop at best.
Oh, he came off the top rope with that thing. What do you mean second rope?
Pretty sure it was a second rope leg drop.
Absolutely not. Oh, we're going to have a Joel is wrong here moment, everybody. Here we go. Y'all ready for this? That
should be the theme to Dynamite.
That would actually be good. That would actually be good if that was the theme. Y'all, you got to tell me I'm correct in this, right, chat? He came off the top rope with that leg drop.
One person is saying that. Two people saying.
Look at this. Hold on. I can't like use a video file, but I can share my screen on this. I just Googled John Cena leg drop top rope. He ain't getting that much height off of the freaking middle rope.
Yeah, he had the hops.
Top rope. All top.
All right. The 3 times that he seemed to have done it.
Look at that. There you go. Right there. Top rope. Here you go. I don't know if it's a GIF. It's allegedly a GIF.
Global Wrestling, Jeff Jarrett's going to be on our ass. Is this the one against Corbin? No, okay, this is the AJ Styles match.
I don't know, man. It shows like all of his moves here. We're going to get demonetized for all of this. Where's the friggin'...
Let's wipe this
off.
Look
at all these great moves. What?
Let's just wipe this off the screen before we get screwed.
Okay, there you go. You see it? Is it showing?
Hey, no, I'm seeing it. It's happening. It's happened 50 times in a row.
Top rope. Everyone agrees with me that it was top rope.
So Big Boom broke his foot because he was wearing sneakers and not John Cena shoes.
Because look, as great as Big Boom is, there's only one GOAT, man. It's John Cena.
And you know what? Like John influenced a lot of wrestlers like that. There were a bunch of wrestlers who have moved over to wearing sneakers in the ring. Like I know Liv was one of them. Finn Balor's been doing that lately. Those are just two off the top of my head, but like there are several wrestlers who have gone from wearing traditional boots to wearing either like a low boot that is disguised as a pair of Nikes or actually wearing some sort of, basketball shoes. Like the Profits are another team that does that. They're wearing kicks in the ring. It's good. It's cool if it works. Louis sent us a remonetization fund super chat. Thank you. We're gonna recoup it all back because Jeremy decided to prove me wrong and get us all.
Hashtag Joel is wrong. Everyone use the hashtag Joel is wrong.
Boo. Yeah, Shane McMahon's another one that someone in the chat mentioned. But Shane has all the money in the world. They're probably boots disguised as Nikes. I knew it. Roman Reigns coming back. The whole bloodline working in dunks.
Don't work in their sneakers though.
They do.
Do they? Okay.
When the bloodline stuff was going on, they were doing it. Yeah, good for them. People are jerks in the chat.
They're being correct that you were wrong.
They're bullying me.
You're down, Joel. Go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
Here's where you messed up, Joel. 1, just being wrong. You should try not doing that so often. 2,
thank you.
You tried to doubt like me on a John Cena.
It's true. You're right. That's like giving Jensen a Cody issue. You're right. Should have known better.
Pretty sure I know John Cena's coming off the top rope with that leg drop, brother.
See, I made a mistake because I'm ill. And also because I'm sick. No, anyway,
my favorite part, I was having this discussion with the wife of a few weeks ago. It was another time where you were wrong. It was the Brody King, Brody Lee.
Oh, damn it.
And it was when like I rewound the tape and everything. And I was talking about, I was like, yeah, I had to rewind the tape on Joel. And I was telling her, like, my favorite thing is like you're so steadfast in your belief. And that's what makes it great. You're like, I didn't say that. No, like I didn't say that. You can't just say like, yeah, I might have misspoke. My bad. I meant this.
No, I know what I said.
Yeah, you were so steadfast. Like, no, I didn't say that. And that's why I have to bring out the gifts or rewind the tape on you because you were so steadfast. And like, no, definitely the middle rope. Definitely not the top rope. What are you talking about?
It's definitely the middle rope. I don't care how many times you show. That could have been an AI video. I don't know. Yeah. John Cena never faced AJ Styles. What are you talking about? AJ Styles is still in TNA. This hasn't been a thing. Gray's pointing out Joel is tired. That is factual. Let me tell you a quick story.
We bully Joel because we care.
No, it's because you want to keep me honest.
Tell your story.
Liar. Zeno Hour and Jeremy over here. Because we care. You don't care. So I have a toddler. Obviously, this has been discussed. Yeah, allegedly. For those of you just joining the show in 2025, I have a toddler. Allegedly. 2 nights ago, 4 a.m, I wake up to apoplectic scream crying.
Oh no.
That doesn't happen. That kid sleeps well. And I'm like, I woke up, I literally opened my eyes and said, oh, that's not normal. And my wife woke up too, and we checked the camera, and my kid is standing at the foot of his bed, like beside himself, holding his blanket that he sleeps with. We're like, what is this? My wife goes over, checks on him, grabs him, like picks him up. And I guess the kid had a bad dream, which again, toddlers, they dream, but it's different. Like everyone's like, what do they dream about? Well, nobody knows. But the idea being that like they start to dream when they hit the age of like 2.5, 3 years old and all that stuff. So like he had a freak out and he eventually went back down. He was fine. But like in the moment, it was like, holy shit, what happened? Then this morning comes 6 o'clock, 6:15. My alarm goes off. He was there dreaming about middle rope leg drops. That's true. My child was dreaming about John Cena middle rope leg drops. So this morning, my alarm goes off 6:15, and I hear him kind of talking to himself, and he does it. My kid wakes up by like 6:30. So I hear him kind of playing with the toy that he has in bed, and I check the camera. He's still lying down, just playing there. It's fine. I start waking up, and everything's cool. And then all of a sudden, I start hearing crying. Not the same crying as the night before, but like crying. Like, what is going on 2 nights in a row? I check the camera. He's now sitting up in bed. I'm like, okay, this usually means he's up. I go into the room, and I don't know if that happened at the McDonald's in the US, but it happened in Canada. There was a Happy Meal that did Mario Kart. Did they do that in the States recently?
Sure.
Anyway, they did a Mario Kart thing, and we found one of the toys. He found it at the museum one day. Some kid had left it behind. It was a Luigi. Shout out, Luigi. Love you. And the Luigi car, like they come apart because they were supposed to be like modular. You could find other pieces and attach them and everything. We don't have them. We have the one car, but like he can pull it apart, but he can't put it back together. See where I'm going with this? I go into his room again, 6:30 in the morning, and he's crying and he's like, Daddy, my toy broke, put it back together. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. It's 6:30 in the morning. This toy is not worth crying over. And And I put it back together, and he gives me like this big hug and says, "I love you, Daddy." And I'm like, "No, fine, it's okay." And then we started the day, and everything was fine from there. But this is one of those weird, like, one of those moments where I'm like, he went from a big nightmarish dream the night before to, "Daddy, my toy's broken, so I'm gonna cry about it." His nightmare was absolutely Tessa Blanchard and TNA.
You should have just broken his toy further. Teach the kid a life.
Should have. I should have.
Some things are not fixable, kid.
Like Daddy's brain. But yeah, that was something else. That toy won't go missing. Something else will inevitably replace it when kids have ADD. They all have ADD. And eventually he's gonna misplace that toy and find something else that doesn't break into pieces. He'll find a Bluey figurine and he'll be like, "Oh, Bluey," and that'll be that.
Bluey's an asshole.
That was a Christmas gift or a Hanukkah gift that my in-laws got for him. Was a Bluey playset, the beach playset. Some of y'all know this one. It's got 45 pieces. 45 friggin' pieces.
Lost.
They are all good. We put them in a box. We kept the characters, but like the beach umbrella that comes in two, and like the little shovel that's like this big, it's like 2 inches big. Like, that shit just went away. Those things get lost so fast.
Bluey.
Why does Bluey suck?
You watch this show? I assume.
I watched it twice.
Yeah. I can't stand that little bitch. I just want to just like, it's a dog, right?
Yes,
Allegedly?
Bluey is a dog. Yes.
Yeah, like just like backhand that thing, man. Bluey's an asshole. All right.
What did she do to you?
I watched the show, Joel. I watched the show.
Okay.
Bluey's just a jerk. You know what I'm saying? Like, watch the show, everybody. Tell me.
I got bigger issue with Peppa.
Peppa sucks too.
Peppa's an asshole.
But
Everything's all about her.
Watch Bluey and tell me that Bluey isn't a little jerk. Just tell me.
Bluey's a girl. That surprises a lot of people. Bluey is a girl. Bluey, Bingo, they're both girls. That's why it's so popular. There are very few female-driven, toddler characters. Bluey's one. Yeah, and Peppa.
Bluey's a little bitch. That's what.
Goddamn. We're gonna make this into a short too.
I hate that stupid.
We're gonna take it and we're gonna put it on YouTube Kids.
Yeah. Angry white man shoots on Bluey. Cops will be at my house.
That's fine. People mentioning Caillou being a sociopath, that's also factual. You know who gets away with everything? Sesame Street. They deserve it. They deserve to be the kings forever. Listen, I'll take Bluey over Paw Patrol. I'll take Bluey over so many of those shit. Like, I've talked about CoComelon on this show, and they are the worst. If I could banish one thing to the sun, it's CoComelon. I think it's garbage in every way, shape, and form.
Never had to watch the CoComelon. Never.
We haven't either, but I've seen other kids watching it, and I'm like, and I've seen the videos of like why it's awful. It's so bad for the attention span. Like, if you've got kids who are watching CoComelon, stop. Put them in front of Bluey. Put them with even Peppa. Anything that doesn't. True, Bluey does suck. But instead, like, you can just give them anything but CoComelon. Do Sesame Street, always the best. But yeah, man, don't. If you're gonna do screen time, I also actively advocate against too much screen time. But yeah, CoComelon's the worst.
Have them watch some real shows.
Yeah, put on NYPD Blue. They gotta know.
Watching Law and Order at like 3.
That's right. I was so close to making a Honey joke. I'm glad somebody did. Yeah, Bluey and Honey are probably besties.
SpongeBob is where it's at, everybody.
Yeah, I get it.
I agree with the SpongeBob.
ITW Anonymous General Manager says Bluey is good, and I agree.
What?
The ITW Anonymous General Manager says Bluey is good, capital G-O-O-D.
I know she was home.
Well, she's watching, and she says it's good, and I agree.
Nah, fuck Bluey.
Yeah, make them watch the Chicago shows.
The Chicago's.
Chicago Fire, Chicago Med,
yeah.
Chicago Hope. Yeah, they gotta watch everything.
Chicago seems like it's got a lot going on.
Yeah, a lot of problems. Talk to Phil Lindsay. He'll tell you the best city in the world. Watch the Chicago shows, and they're like, everything sucks and it's on fire.
Why isn't CM Punk guesting on any of these shows?
I have thought about that. Are they NBCU properties? I'm pretty sure they are.
No idea.
Chicago Med. Let's just look up that. It's on Amazon Prime. And yeah, it's NBC.
All right.
He should be on all three in one night. It's Punk Night in Chicago. First, on Chicago Med, a new punk doctor arrives, and he has you feeling good. And on Chicago Fire, there's a new firefighter in town, and his tattoos have let the fire marshal really upset. And later on Chicago Hope, the fuck is Chicago Hope about? Does anyone remember?
What is Chicago Hope about? Is that like a church thing?
No, I feel like Chicago Hope was a school thing.
Is it? Okay. Church school.
Oh no, Chicago Hope was another medical.
Why do they need more medicals? Chicago local medical facility.
I'm pretty sure Chicago Hope is over. Yeah, what's the other Chicago? Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, and now I gotta find this out. It's the Chicago franchise. Someone in the chat remember before
Chicago MD. Is that a
Chicago Cope?
Chicago Cope.
Should have Chicago Cope.
Adam Copeland just wandering the streets of Chicago.
Oh, Chicago PD. Of course, is the one we forget.
Okay.
A new Chicago cop has taken over the Upper West Side. I guess it's South Central there, but either way, it'd just be, oh, God, I love it. Ryan Lambert says their partner worked for Chicago Fire, Chicago PD. Get CM Punk a spot. Get him a spot. He deserves to be
like none of these shows are good. I was explaining The Wire to the kids yesterday. That's what kids should be watching. The Wire.
Father of the Year, Jeremy Lambert over here. Tell him we back.
They were doing these they were talking about like going to jail and everything, and they were like, oh, you got to go to jail for 10 years. And I was like, nope, doesn't work like that. And they're like, huh? I was like, you only do 2 days in jail. Day you go in, day you get out. And they didn't understand this reference at all. I didn't tell them it was from The Wire, but I'm sure this line is like elsewhere. I just know it famously from The Wire. It's like, you only do 2 days in jail, day you go in, day you get out. I was explaining to them like what that meant and everything. And I equated it to school. I was like, you only do 2 days at school, first day and the day you graduate. They seem to understand. So, life lessons from The Wire. Shit.
Oh, this is perfect.
Orange
is the new bluey.
It's good. The Wire ruled, man. I got that whole set on DVD. What a show.
I'm getting confirmation, by the way. He did. He was talking about what it's like in prison. Like he had.
I was telling the kids, I was like, "Hey, you go to prison. What are you supposed to do in prison?" And they're like, "You sleep, you eat, and you like talk for like an hour." I was like, "Yeah, every day is just basically the same, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, you should have seen the wife. We're at the kitchen table. These are dinner conversations at the house. The wife's on the couch, and she just looks at me like, what in the hell is this man doing?" They gotta learn at some point, right? Should have done Prison Jeremy. Hey, yo, Prison Jeremy. Not the do-rag. But yeah, I was explaining prison life to the children based on what I'd seen on The Wire.
You got to start telling your kids, come at the king, you best not miss.
At some point, I'll make more Wire references. I got to rewatch that show. That's a show that like it's not like this thing that you just like put on in the background. It's not a background show. It's a show you got to pay attention to. But yeah, Wire rules, man. What a show.
Oh, the show's going downhill from now on. Nothing's gonna top that last 5 minutes.
Kids gotta learn at some point. They gotta learn at some point about The Wire, man. They do. Nah, you just gotta break their spirit. Just
Yeah, don't mute yourself. Let the kids know.
Yeah. You just gotta break their spirit.
If there's ever, I know Vince McMahon is a piece of shit. If there's ever one Vince McMahonism that I will always use, it's life sucks and then you die, and that's it.
I don't like that Vince McMahonism, but I do quote that a lot with the infamous Sammer. We quote that all the time.
You gotta use the voice, unfortunately.
Now, see, The Wire switched up the theme, every year. That was one of the brilliant things about The Wire. Way down in the hole, though. What a show. What are you talking about?
Did they ever use I'm So Excited by the Pointer Sisters?
The Wire's on Max, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
It's an HBO property, and it used to be HBO Max. I'm pretty sure The Wire. I just see where to stream this. The Wire streaming. Are we on Max with The Wire?
Well, I know RJ City was excited that Arliss is available on Max.
Yeah, The Wire's on Max, so can rewatch that. Go watch The Wire after you finish watching this episode. But
watch The Wire while you watch this episode. If you watch it at a certain time, if you start this episode at the same time as like the same time we start this conversation, it all syncs up perfectly. It's like our version of Dark Side of Oz.
Oh man, Oz is a show that I watched the first couple of seasons and never finished.
I never got through it either.
Yeah. It seemed like it was good.
Yeah, they were before my time in like television world, like watching TV and paying attention to it. Ken Bruno sent us this, and I think this is our new thumbnail for the day, right there. Wow.
True.
Wow.
Facts.
Wow.
So the wife just messaged, she missed the first part of the show. Have you guys talked about wrestling at all? Funny enough, like the first 25 minutes of this show was actually wrestling talk. And then we got off on this tangent. So yes, we actually started with wrestling, which I know is not typical for us. And then we got into the non-wrestling stuff. At some point, we'll circle back to wrestling. Maybe. I don't know.
Who needs wrestling? I literally came onto this show this morning before we started, and I said to Jeremy, Dynamite was good. What the hell are we going to talk about for the next 2 hours?
It's tough to do a show when we have everything to praise.
Yeah, exactly. Who needs to praise stuff? Okay, all right. Jeff Jarrett?
Hell yeah.
Jeff Jarrett comes out, and he's all like, hey, I just carnied my way into a new contract. Hey, I'm going to be a focal point on this show. Hey, I'm the best, even though I'm old, and QT Marshall did it. So here's me. Jeff Jarrett's going to be world champion. Hell yeah, let's go.
Do you think Jeff Jarrett was like shooting on this? Tony Khan just like go out there, announce he signed a new contract, and everyone will give you a big cheer and say this is like your last contract, and then just say whatever you want. And Jeff's like, say no more. Say whatever I want. Say no more. And he's like, I signed a new contract, the last ride for the last outlaw. I'm coming after the world title. I'm gonna be the world champion in 2025. And now Tony's like, fuck, I gotta do a Jeff Jarrett title match.
That meme, that what's his face? Oh my god, the pointing, not Spider-Man. The come on, stole my bit. Oh, Leo DiCaprio. The meme where Mickey James is doing that right then. Doing her last rodeo, last outlaw bullshit, and I'm just sitting there like, Mickey James is rolling in her grave. But he's not like, that's the joke. But yeah, that was. I love the idea of Jeff Jarrett going off script and being like, I'm gonna win the world title, and TK in the back being like, I'm sorry, what did he just say?
You could legitimately draw like a big house in the South with a Jeff Jarrett world title match, right?
I'm sure that they're going to come back to Tennessee in the summer. They're going to be in Clarksville. And that was the thing. When they announced like Jeff Jarrett's going to announce or going to talk about his future, when they announced that was happening, I was like, all right, I know where they are this week for the Max thing. That's that's a good start. But like, it really felt like he was going to announce something. Then they were like, oh, Casino Gauntlet. It's going to be next week in Clarksville. Oh, Jeff Jarrett's going to make a thing. I'm like, he's just going to announce he's joining this Casino Gauntlet and he wants to win a world title before he retires. I didn't expect him to be like, I'm John Cena Jarrett over here. This is my last active wrestling contract. But also, I shouldn't be surprised. And yeah, it was just, he's going to be in the Casino Gauntlet. That's really all I expected from this shit. And it was the most carny thing on AEW. And it was the most like wrestling carny thing I've seen in like a minute. It was very funny for me.
They're going to be in Knoxville, January 22nd. That's the week after Maximum Carnage. You're probably not doing a Jeff Jarrett title match there. Otherwise, I don't have any Tennessee dates.
Well, they usually announce things by quarter, right? That's usually how they've been doing it lately.
Yeah. They're in Clarksville next week, which that's the Casino Gauntlet. Jarrett's in that. So yeah, then it's Knoxville in 2 weeks. I think in Memphis or Nashville, like you can do a big Jeff Jarrett title match. They're not going to put the title on him. Okay.
So Blood and Guts usually, they should. Blood and Guts has become a June show.
Yeah.
Last time they did it from Nashville at Bridgestone. Yeah. Do you think maybe they go back to Bridgestone for Blood and Guts because it's a big enough venue that can like do both rings in the cage, and they do Moxley and Jeff, but really the big match is Blood and Guts. But I mean, the other issue here is Blood and Guts should be a Death Riders match.
Should it?
It should. I don't know what other story you can do a Hurt Syndicate, with Ricochet and someone else versus like Swerve and his guys, but like they've got a little time to like flesh it out so that it would have to be Moxley and Jarrett for the title, and then Blood and Guts is a much bigger match. That it could be the Elite, the reformation of the Elite by then to get to the all-in match that they're going to eventually do with Okada and Kenny. They very, very heavily hinted that. We'll talk about it in a minute, but like, could go back to Nashville, have that be the world title match because Jeff and Nashville and Tennessee, blah blah blah, and then do a bigger match that'll sell the house for for Blood and Guts. Easy as that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think they have that far planned.
I don't either. Again, I asked you on Tuesday. I was like, do you think the Death Riders had like a plan from when this started to where they're going other than Darby wins? Because like there are a lot of
I don't know if they have that plan anymore at this point.
I think they had an idea, and then Darby was like, I'm still climbing the mountain. And they were like, okay. And now they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't know what the plan will be. It was good at the start, and then I don't know where Yuta factors in anymore at this point, because
he's a big old loser. That's where he factors.
Yeah, he's just kind of getting beat. Like it looked like it was going somewhere with him being sort of a focal point, and maybe he was gonna fight back or something. It's whatever. It's just a wrestling angle at this point. It's nothing bigger. We talked about it months ago. I had hopes that it would be bigger. It's not. It's a wrestling angle that lives in its little bubble. One thing I did like from Dynamite, and I like the show overall. A lot of people chasing that world title now. Jeff Jarrett said he wants a shot. MJF, I thought MJF had a really strong promo. Him saying that, he wants his shot. Like, I thought that was good stuff. You got multiple people saying, yeah, we want that world title. So I thought that was good. And maybe the Death Rider stuff will pick back up. Yeah, they're doing the Casino Gauntlet next week. I don't fully love the Casino Gauntlet. I like it as a match. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's always a good match. I don't fully love of like, oh, well, like the last time we did the Casino Gauntlet was All In, and that was to earn the contract that Christian still has. Now we're doing another Casino Gauntlet to just get a title match the following week. I don't want them, and we talked about it when they did it last time. It's like, don't abuse the Casino Gauntlet. Don't abuse it so much. Let's keep it. And they haven't done it since All In, so it's not like they're fully abusing it. It just feels like you could get to a title match a different way.
Didn't they do it 2 weeks after?
All In? They did the tag team casino gauntlet.
That's the one I'm thinking of. Okay, so I'm not. Yeah, okay, good.
That's the thing. Like they do seem to go to it a little too much. Like if you want to do a quick title match for Cincy, though, like Copeland's a logical challenger. Just do Copeland. Cope.
But if it's Cope, then what's the Revolution match? What's the Revolution title match? Is it Jay White again, who's now eating L's? Like, what are we doing? He got pinned in that World's End match, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He gets pinned. So to me, and again, this is why when you're doing multi-person matches, or at least like, so this was a TNA thing that I noticed last night and I've seen before. They did a Knockouts 8-woman tag to main event the show. Masha Slamovich pinned Tasha Steelz. That was the finish. Those two had the match the night before at Final Resolution, which was the last show that we saw before they went on their 2-week break. To me, that was like the end of Tasha Steelz challenging for a title. So when something like that happens in AEW, I would kind of expect the same. I know not all wrestling companies present and do things the same way, but to me, it's like if the challenger gets pinned, whatever challenger that is, the one who gets pinned, back of the line, that's it. That's Jay White at this point.
That's not going to happen, though, because Jay White came out because Jay White has the claim of I would have won if Wheeler Yuta didn't interfere, and that's why he interfered and beat up Wheeler Yuta in the 6-man, and Yuta lost. It feels like Jay White's probably Grand Slam
Australia.
Yeah.
Yes. And this is one thing I was thinking about today was you are potentially going to have one Australian, one New Zealand talent go into that show, very popular with the crowd because they're technically hometown, and both potentially lose.
Well, they should have. The Australia crowd should have bought more tickets so they could have run a bigger venue and they would have supported their people. This is what they get. They get a bunch of losers because they didn't come out and support.
Wow. Also frequently, as is true. Kenny, sorry, not Kenny. I read something else. Ken Bruno in the chat mentioned that a heel could win next week in the Casino Gauntlet because they're going to be in Cincinnati. Moxley's most likely going to be cheered there because it's home turf. I could also see that. I don't know who it could be that does that effectively. It could be Hangman, honestly. To do Hangman and Moxley at Maximum Carnage, pretty big match to do.
I wouldn't be beating Hangman, though.
Well, he beat Orange Cassidy, didn't he?
Yeah, I know Hangman beat Orange Cassidy. This is the thing. I wouldn't have, because Hangman he took multiple losses to Jay White after beating Swerve. He took multiple pay-per-view losses to Jay White. He was in the 4-way. He technically lost that match. I know he didn't get pinned, but he technically lost that match. He lost in that dumb 6-man match where Orange Cassidy got rolled up because they were all fighting and everything. He beat Orange Cassidy, which is good, but I wouldn't just have him lose. Like, winning the Casino Gauntlet would be a good win for him, but then to lose right away to Moxley, like, that's 3 major singles losses in the span of just a couple of months. And people keep saying Hangman can take an L and it doesn't hurt him. You can't keep saying he's going to take an L and it doesn't hurt him, and then just keep taking L's, because it does hurt them. It just does. You might not think it because you think, this guy is kind of bulletproof. Not everybody is bulletproof like that. Like, you've got to get wins at some point. You can't just keep taking L's and when I say like keep taking L's, like this close together. If you want to do like a loss and then do a couple of like kind of random wins, like good wins, like an Orange Cassidy win, and then maybe a loss later down, like, okay, fine. But taking so many big L's in a short period of time, it does hurt people. You might not think it does, but it really does hurt people. Not hurt business, hurt syndicate, but like it does hurt people.
Jay won the number 1 spots.
Slip up but get got.
Anyway, he'll be number 1. I assume. I mean, Swerve and Roddy Strong are probably in the match as well. Powerhouse Hobbs.
I don't know if Swerve is. I really don't know if Swerve is.
Because of Ricochet. That's fair. Yeah. That's fair. So you can assume Roddy Strong's in there. Powerhouse Hobbs is officially announced as part of it. Is Will Ospreay?
I don't know. He should be part of it, but they also kind of like Will Ospreay's won every casino gauntlet he's in, and I don't think he's winning this casino gauntlet. So they might keep him out of it just because of that, honestly.
That's the thing. Like, I see Ken in the chat saying can't beat Ospreay again. I don't think if Ospreay's in it that he wins it, and I don't think if Ospreay's in it he eats the pin. I think it's more likely that Ospreay's just in it and doesn't win because it's Will Ospreay. He's, big star type of blah blah blah. People saying he should be hurt in kayfabe and he should be selling. He could also be going home and taking a little bit of time off, which would be just as well for him to have some time with his family. So who knows?
You know who's going to end up winning this thing? And I think like this would be fine if they end up winning. Brody King. Brody King's going to come in and he's going to win because he's a nice little challenger for Moxley that Moxley can beat in his hometown of Cincinnati. Like Brody King's not viewed as this like big threat. He's not going to get in the way of stories that they want to tell either with like Cope and then potentially MJF and just really any story, Jay White, Hangman, any story that like they want to kind of protect where Moxley's going to just beat them on a weak build. Weak as in W-E-E-K. And I know if it's like Hangman or Jay White, it's technically more than a weak build. But the title match itself would be a weak build. Brody King's just a guy that can come in and win the casino gauntlet, lose to Jon Moxley, and then go about on his way. That's where they've slotted him. There's nothing wrong with that slot. Like I think they could do a little bit more with Brody King, but right now they have a pretty fleshed out idea of who they're utilizing, where they're utilizing them, and what they're going with. And Brody King doesn't seem to really factor into those plans, but he can factor into a nice casino gauntlet win, a nice challenger of the week in Moxley's hometown, and then push forward other stuff.
Malachi Black.
That's my prediction, by the way. I'm predicting King? Right here, Brody King wins.
What? I think Malachi Black should win. So that Malachi Black and Moxley could have a match that ends very weirdly, and then Malachi Black can go to the big stage area in the venue because they're running like a kind of like Hammerstein. They're running a similar venue, a concert theater thing. You can go and he can wave to the crowd, blow them kisses, and get the roses thrown at him, and then later on tell everyone, no, I'm not retiring, I'm not leaving. I just wanted the adulation of the crowd. I love them so much. I'll see you next week. I love you, AEW. And then next week or a month later, he's in the Royal Rumble. It's fine. Hey, man, no man is ever truly good. No man is ever truly evil. I'll show you things you never knew, but we will never be equal.
Is that the lyric?
Something like that. It's close enough.
Oh, I don't know the actual lyric.
I'll show you things you never could, and we will never be equal.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
You rhymed evil with equal, so I assume that's like kind of correct.
Yeah, well, once in a while I get it right.
Yeah.
I gotta find the stupid lyric. Theme song lyrics. The root of all evil. No man is never truly. I'll do the things you never could, and we will never be equal. Okay, so I was pretty close.
I did not know the lyric. Good on you. Good on you.
I used to like that man. I used to like him. I loved Tommy End. Now I don't. Throw the roses at the loser. Let him wave and blow kisses while Moxley leaves the ring. Just let it go.
Henry's also got it right. The story with House of Black. If they want Brody, save Darby. Yeah, like Brody stepping to Claudio and not letting him beat up Darby even more. Makes sense. This is why my expectation is Brody King. If they do something, that's nothing wrong with Brody King. I think Brody King's fantastic. Again, I think they could do more with him. But that's kind of where I'm at. Is I think it's just probably going to be like Brody King.
Commander is going to win.
Bro, Commander can't even beat QT Marshall in 10 minutes. Like
doesn't matter. He's still a televised streaming champion.
Yeah, but like he couldn't beat QT Big Boom AJ. Put the TV title on him. He beat QT Marshall. Pretty sure that match was 10 minutes. I don't know. But
you know what? Here's the real thing. Going back to Cope. Cope walks up to the learning tree without Jericho, and they're like, "Where's your boy? Where's Jericho?" Blah blah blah. And I'm just sitting here like, yeah, scrap Cope and Mox. Do Copeland and Jericho for the Ring of Honor Championship. Put Cope on ROH. Like, just do that. Let Jericho drop the title to Cope. Let Cope go run ROH. Go for it. Let's do it. That's the next pay-per-view main event is Cope and Jericho for the Ring of Honor World Championship. That's it. Your face looks stupid. He was one step from just looking at Brian Keith and just being like, your mother. But he couldn't. He just couldn't do it. He thought that was the line.
Cope. Everybody. Cope.
Awful.
Chris Jericho's so excited to get involved with all of this stuff.
He just can't hide it. He's about to lose control, and I think he likes it.
Bless Jericho.
Hi, guys!
Yeah, I don't know who's going this
QT Marshall in 9 minutes and 25 seconds. He should be the TV champion.
I agree. There it is. That's the match right there.
Hell yeah, Chris.
You know, Cope will put Ring of Honor asses in seats.
Cope, Willie? I would like to think he would, but I mean, I already said mean things about the Cope on Tuesday when I said he wasn't on the level of John Cena, which is factual, by the way. But
it's fine. Then you drop the Adam Copeland, or not the Adam. Then you drop the Adam Cole short. And that one
was a good short.
Numbers. I was very confused. People were like, "Yeah, it's a good idea." I'm like, "Oh God, why?"
Here's a behind the scenes of that short. I got so frustrated making that thing because if you notice the text on it, if you look at all the other shorts I make, like the text is like jazzed up and everything. I could not get the jazzed up text to work. Like it would cut off whenever like the Moxley video showed up. Moxley, I guess, was like, yeah, I ain't working for this jazzed up text here. But like it would stop working there, and then it wouldn't work the rest of the short. So I had to go with like generic ass text, so it would just show up. I almost went no text, but I know like that doesn't like play as well. So I just had to use the like very generic text on that. So that's why I'm sure no one was wondering, hey, why is this text like just super basic compared to all the other ones? It's because for some reason my CapCut did not want to, cooperate with this short and give me jazz. It worked fine with the next one where I show CM Punk getting beat up in UFC fights, but for some reason with that one, it was not working at all. Like
I was wondering why the frame rates were so shitty.
Because I just download videos off YouTube, man. Like I'm not, You're
not proficient like I am. You're not a professional like I am.
I try to download like good videos, but some of the videos aren't very good. And so
there are a lot of shitty ones out there.
Yeah. Okay. I could like enhance the audio quality, I'm sure, but do people honest question, like do people like really care about that on these shorts?
Especially because shorts are mostly being watched on your phone. And like if you're watching just on your speaker, like your speakers are shit anyway. They're tuned to very mid-range like vocals, so that's fine. If you're wearing your headphones, honestly, most people either have like if they've got a pair of earpods or AirPods, they probably don't have the pros, and even the pros are like they're fine. Just sonically, I don't care. And because the phones are so small, everything's just kind of densely packed into the pixel. Therefore, everything is fine from a video watching standpoint. Most people don't care. I'm just that guy. I watch tech YouTube shits all the time. That's just me.
Yeah. But
I'm also not like I need the latest graphics card because I'm a super duper, quadruple A gaming type of person. I'm not. I just like things that look nice. I like good cameras and good lighting and stuff like that. You know, it bugs the shit out of me that I've got like a cable that's visible right here. I hate that. I want to get rid of that cable because it used to be over there, but then we moved this here. It's a whole thing. But that stuff bugs me. Most people don't notice, don't care. It is what it is. I'm sorry, you have code to block shorts on your computer? That's amazing. I use different extensions to block sponsors on my, I probably shouldn't say this out loud because it's kind of our bread and butter is YouTube, but I can block sponsor spots or like skip ahead out of them. It's fantastic.
Don't say this, Joel. Don't say this.
That's fine. I listen to our podcast. I don't watch our stuff unless it's live. Even then, I've told the story. Usually when I'm watching, I'm watching on Twitch because on Twitch, I can do audio only on Twitch. YouTube, you can't do audio only.
All right.
I need to see our faces.
Twitch? Is that a thing?
Yeah, we're still on Twitch. Don't ask me how many people are watching. Oh, nope. Don't ask me how many people are watching.
Okay. Yeah.
Almost surprised myself. Yeah, NordVPN's canceling their sponsorship with us as we speak. No more Fightful Awards. One of your guys talked about how he's skipping all the ad reads.
That's in trouble here, Joel.
Wouldn't be the first time. Hey, at least those articles ran, right? At least the articles and then the information from the conversation. Oh yeah, a couple articles ran, and the notes went up on Select.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything, brother.
Saw it come up on like Christmas Day, and I was like, "Oh, we're gonna do this," and we ain't doing shit.
All right, fair.
Yeah, it's fine. Go read the articles. Good stuff. The Kenny stuff. We should probably talk about the Kenny promo. Really all that matters is the fact that they then cut to the All-In banner and were like extremely pointed to where that match is going to happen. Like, we don't know when Kenny and Kazuchika Okada will meet, but I'm sure it will be amazing. And I'm like, you're focused on the All-In Texas banner. I'm pretty sure it's where you're going to do it. But now you got 7 months to tell that story. That's a long time.
Oh, Kenny's not going to be on television half that time. Okada's going to call him a bitch, and then we move.
Do we find a makeup point for the Elite? Because last time Kenny's name was mentioned on TV before his return was the happy birthday, here's animal guts on the cake spot. And one of those
shouldn't
seen since.
It shouldn't be that quick. I mean, I know 7 months is a while, so maybe it's truthfully not that quick. But I would keep this going for a while, and I would keep. I don't know what their plans are with the Young Bucks. I don't know what the Young Bucks want to do either, because so I made a reference to it on Tuesday where it's bad. It was bad on purpose. If you didn't like it, well, good. It was supposed to be bad. Everything we were trying to do, those matches, they're supposed to be bad. Everybody, all right?
That's right. Last 8 months, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, don't be mad at us. Don't be mad at us. We were trying to be bad with these wrestling matches we were put on. But like, if you listen to that interview, it was just strange they're talking about what they wanted to do with their title reign, and we wanted to lose the titles at like 5 different points, and we wanted to really make Private Party, and like, look what's happened to Private Party since then. Like, they're barely on television. They clearly have not like put any real investment into the tag team division and Private Party since winning the titles. And they're about to face Leo and Action Andretti on Saturday.
I did on the stepmother of all simulcasts, by the way.
And look where Leo and Action Andretti were before this. They were just dorks getting beat every single time. And like, they earned a title shot by beating Top Flight, who were dorks getting beat every single time. Again, Outrunners, they had something, and then they're just kind of off TV. Like, the tag division just isn't prominently featured. There seems to be just some sort of like disconnect with what the Elite want to do and what the actual vision is. So when they return, I don't know where they go with it. Like, I think the Kenny stuff is obviously right there. It is. But you've got to actually, like, if you're trying to wait for Okada and Kenny and you're trying to do 7 months, you got to actually like really flesh that out and have it down kind of beat by beat, because it's no good if you're just like, yeah, we're just going to hold off and do it until All In. But you don't actually like build to that crescendo of All In. Like people are going to be excited because it's Okada and Kenny in AEW, but they'll be more excited if you actually put some proper story and proper build behind it to make it peak at All In, and not, man, you probably could have just done this match 3 months ago and we would have been way more excited. Now it's just like, all right, cool, this match is happening, we're excited for it, but the actual way we got here was a complete mess.
My hope is that the Bucks don't get to do the meta meme 90s bullshit TV trope where they go up and they're just like, oh, this never happened. And then Kenny's like, that's right, never happened. And they just move on. And they've done that before. Like this is something that the Bucks have done just to like move shit around and just let it go. Maybe not necessarily in AEW, but like they've done it on BTE, which is a little more jokey, but wouldn't put it past them to try it. And I'm sure a bunch of people would be like, the Bucks, they're so funny. That's amazing. And then other people being like, oh, no, this isn't how we're supposed to do this. I think there should be a story with Kenny and Okada and the Bucks as well. And maybe that's the return of Jack Perry being like, what are we doing? Like, you're not friends. We hated this guy. We look at what we did to him. Roll montage with the Pointer Sisters. And then they come back and they're just like, it's a great song. Anyway, Kenny, you're great. We missed you. I don't know what the expectation is with this story, but I really hope that they are going to actually tell one and not just be like, the Elite, they're back, then they're better than ever, and that's it. They need something, because it was a pretty hot story when Kenny got written off.
It was, and then
beat everyone.
Follow-up.
Beat everyone. Sorry.
Follow-up was what it was. There's story to tell there, whether it's Kenny and the Bucks, Kenny and Okada, Kenny and Perry and the Elite. Like there's a lot to kind of do there. I don't know if you got 7 months worth of doing stuff.
Well,
there's
Sorry, I was going to say, this is why you can bring in the Death Rider stuff. People have mentioned it. I'm one of them. You had Moxley at one point be like, I don't care what they say about you. You think you're a good kid, talking to Jack Perry. And Perry can easily join in, or maybe that's when they kick out Yuta. Yuta, you lost your last match with us. You're out. Perry's in, and then Perry becomes the perennial loser for Death Riders. I don't know, but the point being that they bring in Jack Perry because they always liked him. But I don't know if that's something they've even thought about. If it was just a passing remark to make a moment, I don't know.
Gabe Kidd spoke with Sean once again, like the third interview in like a month last night.
Going for that Steve Macklin record.
And like, I don't know how much of Gabe Kidd says, like, he had trouble like blurring the line of like real personality and then wrestling personality, everything. Like, this is just who he is. But one thing I did sort of think about when he's speaking, and this made me even more excited for the match. It's a big New Japan AEW weekend with Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty. And of all the matches, Gabe Kidd and Kenny Omega is my most anticipated match, largely because it's Kenny and his return, his first match in over a year. But Gabe Kidd has done very well in his role of selling this thing. And one thing he sold was, they're advertising this dude for television on Wednesday. He ain't making it to Wednesday. Now, I don't think Gabe Kidd is going to go out there and intentionally trying to injure Kenny Omega or anything. But 2 points here. One, shit happens in a wrestling ring. Eddie Kingston got hurt, and Gabe Kidd can, it was a spot they wanted to do. It was a tough spot to do, and he hit wrong, and it sucks that Eddie Kingston is going to be out for a year over this, because I think Eddie Kingston can tie up a lot of loose ends and a lot of stories when it comes to AEW. 2, not so much that Gabe Kidd is going to go out there and intentionally injure Kenny, but this is Kenny's first match in over a year, coming off a pretty major injury and surgery. I don't know how Kenny's going to react. I don't know how Kenny is going to look in this match. I don't think anybody could truthfully say, oh, we're going to get the best bout machine, Kenny Omega, out there. I would love if that's the case. Would love if Kenny Omega is just returned to form, but he hasn't wrestled in over a year, and he hasn't been training that entire year or anything. He's been in a hospital room for a lot of that point. He's been unable to do any physical activity for a good chunk of that year, at least the first half of the year. He wasn't able to do a whole lot. So I don't know how he's going to look in all of this. And my point when it comes to the AEW stuff is you almost might be able to slow play a lot of it to get Kenny just more revved up with everything. Like maybe it doesn't have to be this weekly thing where Kenny's just having matches weekly. And maybe you can get enough out of this in 7 months to where you can do this match. Hopefully Kenny he looks good. He's able to wrestle relatively consistently out of this, and you can build towards the big Okada match. There's also a real possibility that he goes out there, he tries to have a match, he can't do what he was hoping to do, and he decides, maybe we should do this Okada match sooner. Maybe I got to do stuff a little bit quicker than I anticipated because I just don't know at this point.
Revolution.
And maybe.
That's true. No, it's true. And that's the whole thing is he's going to go to Japan, and this weekend he's going to find out if he's good, and how he's feeling, how his body has reacted to the last year of recovery. I don't know, and he doesn't know what's going to happen until after the adrenaline wears off and after, he's maybe come back. I don't know how much Kenny's going to be a focus in 2025. I know AEW wants to make him a major focus in 2025.
As they should.
And this was kind of the problem, was that they tried to slow play him in 2019, and that kind of blew up in their faces because the Elite didn't want to be the showcases of their own company because they didn't want it to be seen like it's a vanity project for them. So everyone in the Elite except for Cody lost all the time. And it should have been that Kenny was like the guy from the start because he was the guy to watch. And they didn't do that with Kenny. And then it took the heel turn and the Don Callis thing, the winter is coming, title victory. And that kind of set the wheels in motion to what was a pretty solid title reign. But it wasn't the Kenny that we were used to because now we were doing heel Kenny. That was like, but it was like, it wasn't cleaner Kenny from New Japan Bullet Club. It was this Don Callis Kenny, Nick Bockwinkel storyline that they were doing. It was old school Kenny, and it was fine, but it wasn't what it could have been had they went with Kenny right away. And now, unfortunately, the injuries racked up, and now, unfortunately, he's had a lot of time off because of that. Who knows how much they can really make him the focus when you have a lot of young, hungry, up and coming talent that have that potential. Will Ospreay being like chief among them. And we're waiting to see when Will gets his real chance at a world championship run and how that's going to look. But right now with Kenny, it is kind of wait and see, because we won't know until after this weekend, maybe as early as, Wednesday when he comes to Dynamite and does his promo. Yeah, it's a good point. We don't know with Kenny.
Hopefully, again, the match goes well this weekend and he looks good as he can. I'm not expecting best bout machine Kenny Omega.
No, they want
my expectation. What's that?
They sure as shit want you to think about it, though.
I know. And like, fine, it's wrestling. You want to get fans anticipating, even though we don't know his return matches this weekend or who he's facing or where you can watch it or anything like that. I'm not expecting that. My expectations are relatively low. I hope Gabe Kidd has a good showing, because I think he needs a good showing out of this. Maybe even more than Kenny.
You know who always gives us a good showing? Z360's in the house.
Z360, baby. Cowabunga.
And Jazarian, nice eyebrows.
Thank you, Jeremy. Beautiful,
How
beautiful boy. Beautiful boy, Jeremy.
I'm so tired. It's going to be such a long weekend. I got to sleep today.
What do you have going on?
What do you mean what I have going on? It's Wrestle Kingdom. It's Wrestle Dynasty. It's New Year Dash.
God.
It's 3 hour SmackDown.
This is my wife's nightmare. Watching Japanese wrestling at 4:30, 5 in the morning.
It's Netflix on Raw. Like it's It's everything this week.
Yeah.
Kids want to do a sleepover this
no.
weekend.
No.
And I was
With
like,
who?
they
Who's
want to
sleeping
watch
over?
more friends. They
Oh,
allegedly were
friends.
friends. Yeah, yeah. And I was like, you guys want to watch some Japanese pro wrestling at like 3 a.m. with me? We'll stay up late. Let's see. I was teaching them about The Wire yesterday, so now it seems like a good time to teach them about Tetsuya Naito.
Yeah, why don't you teach them about Oz? That was a good show too.
I only watched the first couple of seasons of Oz, so I can't teach them too much about Oz.
Chuck Zito's in it. My boy.
Is he?
He's my homie.
Okay.
I have a great Chuck Zito story. I'm going to omit the names, but a former New York Met was at a venue that I was at with my wife, and he mistaken my wife for a different type of lady. And Chuck Zito Chuck very much likes my wife because my wife's father was a Hell's Angel, or I guess still is. And I almost watched a man die in front of me while I'm screaming, "It's okay, we're all friends. We're all friends."
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are you doing this weekend?
I guess I'm watching Wrestle Kingdom.
You don't have to.
about. No, I'm not doing anything this weekend. No, easy weekend. I've taken off a couple days, and I'm putting my kids to work because my kids are home because they go to Catholic school, so they have no school. So I've put them to work to clean the house now.
Good. Did you pay them accordingly?
I did. I gave them $20 each.
Hey, look at you.
Yeah.
Giving your kids the same amount of money you give a Hammerstein ballroom security card.
Same. It's always a 20, dude. Always slip a 20 for a favor. That's a son of a bitch. He didn't do shit for me. I want to find him. I want to find that guy.
Hell yeah. What's the next event at Hammerstein? Just go there and
GCW.
GCW.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, but that guy's hands are going to be. Yeah, I think they're going to have bigger problems than Andrew Zarian trying to go see Justin Wang.
God bless Steven Jensen. So for those who don't know, TNA Genesis is the same night, and whenever there's a TNA pay-per-view, Jensen jumps on with Cresta and I, and he's been having this like crisis of conscience. Should I be doing like a post-show coverage for the GCW show? Should I be doing like the TNA Genesis show? I'm gonna ask Sean, and I'm like, the GCW show isn't that important. They're just going back to the venue. They're not doing a pay-per-view. Like they're doing their regular ass stream, and it's an important show for them, but like it's a TNA pay-per-view. They come do the work that you need to do. Like stop.
You're talking about TNA pay-per-views. Are anybody planning on coming to the UBS show?
If they're gonna crown Santana at that show, I would consider it. I don't know if I'll still be covering TNA in July.
How many were they going to get for that UBS show? What do we think?
I don't. What do they have right now? I think it was like 2,000 right now.
15 or 1,700 out.
Maybe they'll do 5,000.
They're hoping for. I talked about it on this show. Their hope is that they do more than what they did for the last Slammiversary show, which was 4,000. If they get 4,000 or more, and they're currently set up for 4,500, that's a win. They don't want to. They want to fill the. They would love a full sold out UBS arena, of course, but they're also realistic that they've set it up for little less than 5,000. They can scale it as needed. They're happy with what they get as long as it's more than what they got last year. Growth is the key. That's all they want.
Yeah, I think they could do 5,000 easily, depending on the card. I mean, But listen, AEW struggled in that building. They're a much bigger property, and I think what was it like 7,400 the last time they went?
Yeah, listen, they're gonna do a lot with the Hardys. The Hardys are the biggest draw for TNA. Santana, being a local boy, does goes far if they give him a lot of media. There are other people in that company that will get people talking, and I'm sure there will be other signings that get people in the building.
Yeah,
JBL will have
door, and they're having someone's at my door, and they're having a full-fledged conversation.
Hell yeah, you should have the conversation with them.
It's just male. It's just male.
Oh,
the worst.
It's a very chatty man for male. No, I want to go. If you go, I'll definitely go. It's July 20 what?
20th? It's usually the 20th.
Yeah. If I'm in the States, then yeah. I normally travel that time.
Okay.
I'm not going.
You're not going.
No,
Yeah, July
Have you
20th.
been to Jeremy, have you been to New York?
never been to New York. No.
Don't come here. There's nothing good here.
See, I love going to New York. It's really funny to me when Sean's like, it was a good idea in theory, but I really like living at home. And I'm like, I like traveling.
Yeah.
I also live in a big
You're
city.
from Toronto.
Yeah.
You're from a large city.
Well, I live here. I mean, granted, I've been here for 20 years, but like I grew up in Ottawa. It was a moderately large city, but yes, I'm used to big cities, and
I'm ready to leave. I can't do this anymore here. I want to be left alone. I'll trade with Sean. I want to get out of whatever this is.
Yeah, I'm not like the biggest travel fan. I don't mind traveling if it's again for like a short burst, like fine. But the big city stuff, I just can't do. It's too much for me. Joel, you've seen where I live. Like it's pretty small town. Like we kind of move at our own pace and go from there. Like when I got to go downtown to like Cleveland and stuff, I'm like, oh, this sucks.
How far are you from Cleveland?
About 45 minutes.
Okay. Is that the biggest? Is that like the closest city?
Yeah. But also, Columbus is a little while away. Cincinnati's a little while away.
I think it's interesting. Like I tell people all the time, they're like, "Yeah, you live in New York." I'm like, "Yeah, I live in New York City, but I'm not like I am New York City, but I'm not Manhattan."
Yeah,
everybody thinks it's like all the same. Like I have old 140-year-old colonial houses by me. Like that's all it is. It's not brown. I don't even have brownstones.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing with like Toronto is that in different areas the pace is a little slower depending where you are. And I'm in an area, excuse me, I'm in an area that's downtown, but it's not downtown in the middle of everything. Like it's further west out of the core, so it's not terrible to live in. It's busy, but it's not overly busy. Like Jeremy saw where I live, and you saw in my area. It's not crazy.
No, it's not bad, but like you take a bus everywhere. I'm not used to that. Like it's nothing.
Like you could drive, but I just happen to be the type of person who
I take the train.
Transit.
I didn't even like.
Do you have Jeremy? Do you have a bus to get to the city, or you got to drive?
No, I just drive. I mean, I'm sure there is a bus that gets to the city, but I live in an area where there's like plenty around. So I don't live in the middle of nowhere or anything. I live in a pretty well populated area. It's just not like it's not like a downtown area or anything like that. Yeah. Like when I visited Joel and we drove to the Sami Zayn thing, like it probably took us, that thing was what, like just a couple miles away, and it still took us like 20 minutes or so just because it's so just like populated with people and buildings.
And also everything. It was also a Thursday night.
Yeah.
Around dinner time. Like it was a pretty busy time to go, but yeah, it took some time because of that.
So look at the chat room. All the East Coast people are talking. Brooklyn is no different. Not Manhattan, but still considered. Brooklyn is more city than where I live. Like I live in Queens, which is very congested and city-like. But I'm at the final suburban holdout of New York City. Like there's not much outside of like Bensonhurst still has houses, but everything is piled on each other. At least you get like some property here. My property is irregular, by the way. I have a 52 by 106 property. It's very rare. It's not the Queen Special. I'm an irregular.
You got a normal house. You don't have one of those like small and long houses.
No, my house is like this. It goes up.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, it goes up. Here's another one. Come to Hoboken. It's 20 minutes from Manhattan and Pisa. I love Hoboken.
Yeah, but then you got too congested.
Hoboken has no more homes for people. They've maxed out. They can't expand anymore. Jersey City was great up until the pandemic, and it's getting really good again. I like there. Staten Island is great if you want to, Staten Italy. I'm a big fan of. I have a lot of buddies there.
Why don't you go live on Roosevelt?
They're buried somewhere, but I don't know.
Why don't you go live on Roosevelt Island?
On Roosevelt, who knows what goes on there? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. That's why you got to go. You got to live it.
Nobody knows.
You're living on the water. You got the ghosts. You got these houses that are, some are new and some are old, and you have a big place or a tiny place, and you have to bring in your groceries via boat. Come on.
It's a bizarre place.
I'd live there.
Wrestle Kingdom this weekend.
Good.
Wrestle Dynasty this weekend.
Where can you watch Wrestle Dynasty? Nobody's been telling us where to watch the show.
Isn't it all on the New Japan global world application?
That's news. We had to ask Excalibur about that because they haven't really told us where you can watch Wrestle Dynasty.
It's on
Yeah, I don't
Triller.
understand that. Is it?
Yeah, it's on Triller.
Where's Wrestle Kingdom? Is that on Triller also?
Yeah, you can get like a 2-pack on Triller
Okay.
to do that. I'm pretty sure it's also on New Japan World if you want to just sign
It
up for
is.
that. But
I'll
it's
I'll
also
buy
on
it.
Triller.
I'll buy it.
I'll catch it.
Yeah,
later.
they certainly are not promoting it on AEW television all that much.
I just realized I'm still paying for New Japan, and it's no longer 999 yen. It's 1,200 yen.
Oh, it's too much.
Wow.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. By the way, the 2-pack, not the wrapper, not Tupac, the 2-pack is $32, which is not bad.
Oh, that's cheap.
Except
That's great.
it includes unlimited replays until April 5th, 2025.
What happens after that?
You got to pay again, I'm assuming. Like, what
Look,
is this shit?
If you haven't figured out how to illegally download it by then you deserve to not be able to watch it anymore.
That's fair. You should be paying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had a nice month off of wrestling. It was fantastic. 5 weeks.
What's that like?
Oh man, peace. I have no idea what's going on. I have no gossip. I have no rumors. I have no news. People tried to tell me things. I'm like, nope, not today. I don't even want to.
You don't know how Max feels about the mother of all simulcasts?
Max, I do know how Max feels about the mother of all simulcasts. Yeah, I'm waiting for those numbers to come in.
Oh yeah, the 25 billion. Yeah, let's go.
I'm very curious what they're going to announce because I do know that they were trying to figure out a way to coincide the Max numbers and the live viewership number for cable to kind of balance it out. But I have no idea how they're going to do that because there's going to be a dip for sure. I don't know how much of a dip. Is it 100,000 people? Is it 50,000? I don't know.
It seemed like, and again, this is a very small bubble of people online, but it seemed like most people were watching on Max, at least the people that were kind of tweeting about it and everything, or just posting blue sky and whatever. It seemed like most people were watching on Max or Triller, which if they were watching on Triller, they've probably always been watching on Triller and not TBS. Like I was watching, not that I'm a Nielsen household or anything, but I was watching on Max and not TBS. Like it seemed like the Max feed went fine for me. Not that I ever had any issues with the TBS feed, but it seemed
people
like
were complaining that there were no picture-in-picture, right? That was the only.
Yeah, I
that
don't
was the
care
big
about
difference.
that. Like,
I don't either.
Triller is still the best for this because there's no picture-in-picture, but you just see everything.
Yeah, I don't care about picture-in-picture. I get it's a way to like retain the audience, and I'm sure it's good for that. But like, there's nothing else on, and channel flipping, especially if you're on streaming service, channel flipping like doesn't exist anymore. It's not like you could press a button to go to like the last thing you watched. And so I think it makes sense for cable to still have that of like, hey, we don't want you to flip elsewhere. But if you're on a streaming service and you're watching the show, it doesn't feel like let me leave my Max app, let me load up Netflix for 2 minutes to watch something. Oh, let me go back to Max to put something else to put AEW back on. Like channel flipping is not really a thing on streaming service. So I don't find picture-in-picture.
I want someone to figure that out. I want someone to figure out a seamless channel flipping without latency. I think that's the next step for this. Because there's so much latency that it makes it impossible, like you said, and I was trying to do that, just trying to see if I could manage it. And I programmed my Fire TV button 1 and 2 to be, one was NXT when they were going head to head. One was on NXT and the other one was on AEW. So I was able to kind of flip those based on the app that I was using, but it's almost impossible. Joel, what was a great service to watch? Remember that service, Content ID? That was fantastic.
Yeah, that's great.
Content ID, that's a great service. Jeremy, do you know that service?
I feel like I've heard of it, but I don't fully know much about it.
Yeah.
Do you remember the old days where somebody's uncle had a C-band satellite dish and they used to pick up the live feed directly?
Yeah, SmackDown ruled for that.
SmackDown was fantastic for that. I had a friend, Henry. His dad had this. He brought it from the bar that he owned, that he shut down, and he had this giant satellite dish in the front of his house. And he would tell me, he's like, you could see everything that's happening. like the girls are naked in the back. I mean, I swear to God, that's what he said. He goes, the girls are naked and they show it. I was like, what? I went there. There was no naked. It was just Jerry Lawler, just screaming something. That was it.
That's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Clothes come back on.
Ah!
Awful. Hey, would you go watch Ric Flair's last match?
Oh God.
Where? You know what? Let him do it. Why not?
Yeah, let him die. Let him die on
Why
TV.
not?
Let's go.
The guy, he's 80 years old. Let him freaking do it. Who cares at this point?
I posted the rant
I
that
feel
I had.
like I feel like the person who would be liable for a cause of death would care.
It's fine. It would be his son-in-law. It's cool.
What is he? What did they talk about? Are they doing this again?
No, even
No.
Conrad said
He was like, "Nope, I saw Connie."
No, so Ric Flair, he did an interview with a 5-Star podcast. They do great work. They actually just started following me after I did this article yesterday, and it was kind of like very nonchalant, but it was at the end of the interview and everything, and they were just talking. One of the hosts was like, "Oh, I know you got one more match left in you," and Ric Flair's like, "Hell yeah, I do." And then, of course, gets picked up, and then it's like, "Oh, Ric Flair says he has one more match," and blah blah blah, and so it became a thing, and so now it's going to continue to be a thing.
He's a worker. He's always going to work. And that man has told us many times that his goal in life is to die in that ring. Not that I want to see that. Nobody wants to see that. But there's a couple do you think Danielson at 60 is going to wrestle?
I feel like his wife is going to tell him no.
Yeah, I feel like Danielson actually won't wrestle when he gets that old. Like he
doesn't have to do anything that he's doing, but I could see Danielson at in his mid to late 50s doing like a grappling wrestling thing.
You know what?
Okay, but
the only reason he still does it is if Buddy is wrestling when he is 60, when Brian's 60, and then he can wrestle with or against Buddy for one time only.
There's a big difference between 60 and 75.
Boy, howdy.
That's how old Ric Flair is. He's 75. Like, if Danielson has a match at 60, fine. Like, I feel like Chris Jericho might have a match at 60. Honestly.
Hey, Buddy Rogers was 71 his last match, 1992.
That's a big difference still, 71 and 75.
Action Mike Jackson is 75, and he's still going.
But
he's
Flair,
also in better shape than Ric Flair.
Yeah, let's also keep in mind of Ric Flair 75 in people years.
He looks
people years.
Yeah, Ric Flair is way older than 75 in wrestling and lifestyle years.
He looks every bit the 95 that he really is.
Yeah.
Who this is a good question, right? Like, there's so much nostalgia still. Like, just in wrestling, who's the remainder of that era? Like watching Edge on TV the other day. Yeah, he's older now. He's not.
Get it right. Cope, get it right.
I think that is insane. Yeah, I'm coping with calling him that. I think it's insane.
Seethe. Cope and seethe. Okay, cope and seethe, and when the time is right, Cope and Christ.
CNC Music Factory. That's what we're doing now.
Everybody dance now.
I don't know. He's older, but like that's the last of that generation that's still doing this at that level.
But Edge and Christian, now we've got me doing it, are early 50s.
Edge and Christian.
Who
else is doing it on a semi part-time level?
John Cena is gonna have his last, tour here. Randy's still very active.
These guys are still in their mid-40s though.
Yeah.
But Bubba's still going. Hardy's, Jericho.
Yeah, but this is who,
I'm talking like who in their 50s is still wrestling?
Jericho.
Ray. So Christian, Copeland, Jericho, Ray. I think the Hardys are also in their late 40s.
Let's see. Matt Hardy is
Double J.
J. He's going to carny his.
Matt's 50. Matt's 50.
Oh, I hope that they put that title on him.
Oh, me too.
I want to feel. You know what? I haven't felt pain like that in a long time. I want to ward into TNA 2004, where it's just that doom music playing.
Lashley's 48.
I'm talking
50 plus. Double
Dustin.
J.
R-Truth.
R-Truth, Dustin is a good one. Dustin Rhodes.
Shelton's 50, isn't he?
Shelty's 50, but he
Yeah.
also
Is he
looks
50
like he's
or
30.
48?
Crazy. Pardon?
Is he 48 or 50?
Lashley, Shelton's 49.
Okay.
Bobby is 48.
Okay.
The Outrunners are timeless. Miz is in his late 30s. He might actually.
Yeah,
might
Miz
be
is
40.
young.
Late 30s.
No, he's 44. Sorry, he's 44.
Okay.
My mistake. I don't know why I thought he was.
But you know what's crazy? I mean, look at it this way, right? Like, I remember the conversation around John Cena when he was 36 years old. People were saying, that's it. When he's 40, he only has a couple more years of this. At 40, he's done. Isn't it amazing what modern medicine could do? What peptides and TRT and the Samorlins and human growth hormone and stem cells.
And that's kind of it, is that wrestling has now made it so that, or sorry, everything you're talking about has made it so that wrestlers are really hitting their stride and their prime into their late 30s all the way through their 40s, because they've experienced it all. They're bringing it all back, and they become like the best versions of themselves. Whereas in the past, it used to be you come into the business when you're 18, you work through your 20s, and by the time you're in your mid 30s, your body's so banged up that you got to stop. You got to move on. Whether that's go behind the curtain or just leave the business or be gone altogether, that's usually the way it is. But now, like, older wrestlers are out there and they're killing it. But I was, like I said, I was talking about 50 plus, because everyone like John Cena in that contemporary, they're in their 40s and under.
Minoru Suzuki, here's another one.
Yep, Suzuki's another one. Suzuki's actually 27. Did you know that?
If we're going, if we're going like
he's lived a hard life.
Yeah.
If we're going Japan, then just
Suzuki, Tanahashi,
go down the Wrestle Kingdom roster. Everybody's 40 plus on that thing.
Blue Justice. I'm pretty sure the MLW World Champion is 50 something.
Yeah.
How old is Kojima? Kojima is 54. There you go.
Yeah. It's wild. I mean, and that's, I mean, listen, it's good for them because they're able to, the longevity of a career that was maybe 20 years before now or less. If you're a top guy now, it's endless. It's, think about how much effort does it take for the Undertaker to show up and do a tombstone or a choke slam and be done?
Lot.
You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, his bones are rickety crickety. So
Marufuji's 45, by the way.
Yeah, he's younger than I think people really, not like 45.
It's the gold teeth. It's just the gold teeth.
Yeah, I think people think he's 50 plus, but yeah, he's actually kind of younger than people may suspect.
Yeah, dude. Right now, I'm 40, right, and I'm in pretty good shape. I send Joel shirtless photos of me all the time.
Can't confirm.
I actually just did. Did you see that one that I just sent you? The Boppers, the Midnight Boppers.
I saw it. I haven't had a chance to watch.
That's my tag team, the Midnight Boppers.
The Midnight Boppers.
Take a look.
Oh
yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
Ribera jackets and all.
I got my Ribera jacket. I'm shirtless. I feel good. My tan is going.
Yeah, it's true. He's popping.
Okay, I take all the supplements. I'm taking NADs. I'm doing the NAD thing.
Those are different from NDAs, by the way.
Yeah, as I say, NDAs.
Well, I do a lot of NDAs too. I've signed a plethora of them. I'm doing the NADs. I'm doing the peptides. I'm doing the TRT. I do a bunch of other stuff, and I have gout. I can't move today.
God damn! See, maybe there's a problem with all those peptides and all those other things.
Dude, I would shrivel up into a little mushroom man if.
I'm gonna go to New York in July. I'm gonna go to.
You want to see my regimen every morning and all the injectables that I do?
Not only that, I'm going to join you for that, and I'm gonna come back ripped just from that one weekend. I'm gonna show.
Dude, you're gonna grow. It's just gonna be eyebrows and hair. Your hairline is gonna come down to here. You're gonna become like a caveman.
That's fine. Listen, I'm sure everyone will be okay with it.
Dude, I gotta shave my forehead. That's the only way I look normal.
It's not actually hat. This is hair.
Yeah. A day in the life. We should do a day in the life of all the stuff that I do.
Oh, I'm staying at your house in July. That's what's happening.
July? You probably could stay at my house in July.
Amazing.
I probably will have space in July. We're redoing one of the rooms now.
You got air conditioning?
Not central air, no.
You got an air conditioner in the room I'd be taking up?
Yeah, you can sleep in the studio, dude.
Hell yeah, let's go.
I got an AC up there.
Yeah, let's go. I'll sleep at your desk.
You can sleep at it's the most comfortable desk you can sleep on.
I believe it. I see it. It's that glass top. Let's go.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it.
So a lot of wrestling this weekend.
Allegedly.
Busy weekend for me. I don't know about anybody else. But...
Listen, let that 3-hour SmackDown be a 2-parter for me. 10 o'clock rolls around. I'm gonna take a powder. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna watch the 3rd hour when I wake up the next morning.
What does that mean? You're gonna take a powder?
I'm gonna turn off my computer and go to bed.
That's taking a powder?
Take a powder is usually like, no, fuck this shit, I'm out of here. So like,
I've never heard that expression. Is that an expression? I've never heard that before.
You never heard take a powder? That's a thing.
I mean, that could mean something very different in my world.
I know. I was gonna be like, you take a powder. I'm gonna go to bed, but I feel like that wouldn't put me to bed.
Yeah, that wouldn't put you to sleep at all.
Probably keep me up for that.
Not
third
that
hour.
I would know, but
It would keep me up for the 3rd hour, and then the 4th, 5th, and 6th as well.
When you come here, I'll give you your peptides. I'll rub the cream on your thigh.
Yes.
It'll make it, and then all of a sudden you'll feel this rush of energy, and then I'll give you a finasteride for your hair. You'll grow beautiful locks.
What is it
and
with
then
this platform wanting to rub things on thighs?
Yeah, what's going on here?
yeah, what's happening?
That was your invite, not mine.
Listen, that's how I greet everybody.
Because nobody watches. It's fine.
Nobody watches. It's okay. It's okay. I didn't even realize what I was saying.
The only time people have watched this and actually clipped something that we've done was the Mercedes talk, and that was always the funniest shit in the world.
When my Mercedes talk or you guys?
We talked about the debut, and we were talking about financial.
Joe, let me tell you something. That Mercedes bullshit. I was done. I was like, what am I doing? I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing here? I don't even make money doing this. What am I doing? People are sending me death threats.
Yeah, dude. I get it. That's why a lot of people get burnt out, because a lot of people get mistreated by a lot of people, and they turn back and they're like, I don't make enough money for this shit, and they're out of here.
I'm like, what is this? And I even called Sean, and I was like, Sean, is this normal? He goes, is it normal? No. Is it normal for this? Yes. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Is this part of the gig? Unfortunately, it is.
You're lying. You're lying. Did she tell you this?
Yes. She sat me down at a fancy restaurant and over a nice steak dinner said, Andrew, you should know I'll be in Boston for my AEW debut.
Who is she, a WBD employee?
Well, they had to pay her somehow. She actually works in the truck.
She's working in that. That's who it's been the whole time. That's my source, dude.
She threw to Mike Mansouri. Mike was probably like, bitch, you made this. You made this, not me.
Before I leave, I know you guys got to wrap it up, but I went back and I watched the first 2 episodes of Dynamite from 2019.
Did it shock you that Cody Rhodes did not have a tattoo on his neck for those first 2 episodes?
No, but it shocked my wife. My wife went to me. She goes, "Oh, is it fake?" Because she didn't realize. She just, I'm like, is the business fake? How dare you say that? She goes, his stupid tattoo. I'm like, no, it's very real. This is from 2019. She goes, was he married when he got that? I said, yes. She goes, who would allow that? I go, I don't think Brandy's a fan of it. Trust me. Nowhere else you could put it. You're gonna put it on his chest.
Didn't he say that? Like, I thought it was smaller. Didn't he say I thought it was going to be smaller?
Yeah, he said he thought it was going to be smaller.
You didn't see the stencil go on and say, "Oh, that's pretty big."
People get very dumb when it comes to tattoos, though. Is like you see the stencil and like you approve it, like you get very like warped brain of like, yeah, this is definitely what I want, and then it like comes off it bigger, maybe like once it actually gets started, or like you're just so excited to get AEW Dynamite. You're so excited to like get the tattoo that you're like not actually paying attention to what it is, and you're just like, okay, sure, this will be good. I've seen shows where like this guy gets a saying on his arm or whatever, and he obviously approves it, and then it gets done, and he's like, oh, this is not the saying that I wanted. This is completely the wrong saying. But it's like, well, this is what you approved, dude. Like once you get in that chair. I've got one tattoo. It's very basic, like Infinity J.
Well, how old were you when you got it?
I was
old enough.
Yeah. I wasn't young or anything.
I was 15 when I got mine.
Really?
On my back. That's the only one I've ever gotten. It's like
The
a
tramp
prison
stamp, right?
tattoo.
It's tramp stamp, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got a
tramp
Brock
stamp,
Lesnar trap.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for
No,
you.
I was in my 20s when I got it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't like I knew what I was doing when I was getting it and everything. But yeah, once you get there, like you just go and you do it. You don't think about it too much.
Yeah. But I thought it was interesting watching those old shows because a couple I like the black ropes. I think they should go back to the black ropes since they're so bright now. It's so bright. I'm blinded.
You're
Turn off
blinded
the
by the
lights.
You're wrapped up in
Too
your
bright. I don't want to see the crowd either. I
That
want
should be
it
the
dark
theme
and
song for
dim.
Dynamite. That should be the theme song for Dynamite. Is blinded by the lights.
Yeah.
Blinded by the lights, rang up like a douche in the night.
They're gonna
Yeah, that's-
replay that entire comedy spot.
But I mean, watching back, is it that much different than it is now? I don't think so.
No, because here was the thing. A lot of people have never watched the show on a streaming platform who were watching it on TBS before. So like TBS, this is again like a cable versus streaming conversation. Is the streaming has a better quality because it's going out in a better quality. So if you have the internet capability, it is a better quality picture. On cable, you can only do so much that everything gets split off because of the way you're disseminating cable. As a result, the picture is not always as clean as a streaming device. So for people who were experiencing it on Max for the first time ever, who never watched it on Triller, where they were like, this is amazing. And for people who watch it on Triller or streaming, we were like, yeah, that's pretty par for the course. Meanwhile,
because I watch it on YouTube TV and they get a 1080p enhanced stream. So I guess the bitrate is a little higher and they do some color. They kind of make it like HDR, but it's not, they do some whatever mumbo jumbo to it.
Yeah.
It always looks good, but I feel like the overall product, right? The overall product from 2019, I really, to me, have they had some blunders? Absolutely. Like that MJF and Adam Cole stuff that I've hated, but it's not that much different than it is now. And I people keep talking like, well, going back to the old days. I'm like, the old days, it was only 5 years ago. And what's happened is it's fatigue. You got worn out. It's not new and shiny anymore. It's established content for you. I think that's part of the issue too.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing is like WWE sucked in 2019. And AEW came along. AEW came along and it was new and fresh and exciting. And now 5 years later, it's not new or fresh and exciting. There's still very good stuff on the show. But then people get weirded out. Like if you criticize anything, it's like, oh, you want the company to die. It's like, no, we think stuff can be better. Stuff can be better from all of these companies.
Oh, you better bring that energy to when you talk about WWE.
Listen, I'm very honest about what I like and what I don't like. I like very specific wrestling that doesn't cater to a general audience. I like the wrestling that I like. That doesn't mean I don't like the other stuff. I just like one way more than the other. I like sitting in the Hammerstein ballroom with my son and watching an Osprey match. Or watching an Okada match. I'm not going there for the pyrotechnics, and a lot of people go to WWE for the whole spectacle of everything, which is great. I'm taking the kids to that garden show in March. They're going to have a blast. But would I have gone normally? Probably not. I probably wouldn't have gone normally.
Yeah. Listen, I covered shows this past year for WWE, for AEW, for TNA, for GCW, and a bunch of indies in between. And I enjoyed 99.9% of my time at these shows. I didn't, and it's not because I went to an AEW show and didn't enjoy it. It's not because I went to a TNA show and didn't enjoy it. No, I went to all of these shows and enjoyed my time. And there were always one or two things at each show where I was like, this could have been better. But other than that, it wasn't about which company was better. It was just about which, going and doing my job and whatever it means. Yeah. Like Cyclops is better than Wolverine, asking, Jeremy.
Excuse me?
This is a question as old as time. Cyclops is better than Wolverine.
Where's my Wolverine? Hold on. Here's my Wolverine.
The like pile driver finisher making the joke. I go to take pictures of the empty parts of the arena because for years WWE was not filling out the arenas and everyone made the tarping jokes. Then it got moved over to like AEW and it's like, oh, there's only 1,000 people.
It's also, I also think part of it is that we are in a very unique age group now because we were exposed to a very type of different wrestling from the time that we were watching. We started in the boom period. We started in the 80s, and we got to see the cartoons, and it evolved into the worst era of pro wrestling. Then it turned into the Attitude Era, which changed the entire business. Still, we've seen a lot of transitions to it. So I'm not this doom and gloom guy. When AEW has a bad 2 years, it's not the end for them. That's just how wrestling is. You get really hot, and you could extend that for maybe 3 or 4 years, and then you cool down a little bit. WWE was hot from 90, I guess mid 97, right? 90. Let's say 90. Let's say 97. 98,
Yeah.
99, 2000, 2001, 2002 was the end, and then it fell off for a little bit. And then I don't know, when would you say the next boom was?
This one?
This one. Yeah.
I hate to say it, like
Almost 15 years, right?
You could make the argument that the network created not a boom period, but at least a different metric of business modeling for wrestling. And that was a boom for the business of wrestling. But other than that, creatively and in like mainstream culture, whatever, it was absolutely what we're looking at now for the last couple of years since Vince left.
And the other thing, like, I've never been to a bad AEW show. How can you say the product's not good? Like, I have a pretty good eye for wrestling. Like, not in my words, by other people. Like, if I didn't, nobody would tune in and listen to me. Like, I understand things. I've never been to a bad AEW show.
No, the live shows, even WWE, are typically
Even WWE, yeah, they're
great.
good.
Like,
Yeah.
There was a time, certainly, the 3-hour Raws, if you went to one of those, like, it was like, oh God, this thing is just dragging. But I went to Raw 3 hours, November of now 2023, and like it was a good show. The WWE shows, like, people get mad about the Peacock shows of like, oh, you're getting like 5 matches and it's 4 hours and it's a bunch of ads and stuff. But when you're there live, like, that stuff moves. Like, you don't feel like it drags at a live show. Like, I went to SummerSlam, and again, I know people were like, oh, it took forever because of all these ads. When you're there live, like, there's always so much going on around you. There's people to converse with and everything. Like, wrestling, it's tough to have a bad live wrestling experience. There are certainly ways, but when you're there with like kind of like-minded fans and everything, and other people are really enjoying themselves, like, you typically get into it and enjoy yourself as well.
Yeah, listen, I've gone to SmackDowns. I don't like going to the TV shows, like with commercial breaks. It was, that it kind of slows things down. But again, like, it's not bad. You got 3-4 hours. You're hanging out. You're having a couple of drinks. You're watching wrestling. I mean, how bad could it be? How could you be miserable if you're paying for this thing? The other thing, I really hope we see a change. These shows should all start at 6 p.m. East.
Old ass, I love it.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Look,
I don't care.
I've
don't
said this all the
understand
time.
an 8 p.m. start. There's no reason. We got your money. You got your money already.
It's prime time and it's
Started at
advertising.
6.
That's all.
Ended at 10. Everybody's happy.
Oh, Zarian, I've been banging this drum, especially pay-per-views, for a very long time. But people are like, oh, you don't want these long shows. The wrestling podcasters and the wrestling news writers don't want to work 3 hours, 4 hours is too much for them. I don't care that the show is 3 hours. I don't care that Raw is 3 hours. I don't care that SmackDown's 3 hours. I don't care if AEW wants to do 4-hour pay-per-views. Don't care if the WWE wants to do 4-hour pay-per-views. Don't start it at 8 o'clock. Do your 3-hour show. Do your 4-hour show. You start this thing at 6 and I'm done by 9 or by 10. All for it. Run
But
your
also,
3-hour
think
show.
about the
Run your
energy
4-hour
in
show.
the room. That's my thing. The energy in the room. If I'm there at 6 o'clock and I'm watching, let's say, I don't know, Royal Rumble, right? Royal Rumble starts at 6 p.m. That's a long show. Normally, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10:30, I'm at the building. 10 o'clock, I'm at the building. Maybe a little earlier, 9:49, I'm at the building. Great.
Don't worry about it. Soon enough, the Royal Rumble will be a 2-night event. You'll be watching the men's Royal Rumble main event one night, the women's the next night. There'll be a 5-match card, 3 hours each night. You'll be in and out so fast.
That's going to be a very interesting balance for them, I'm going to tell you.
I hope that it's going to create a two nights with like shaped card of like 3 hours, maybe 2
Okay,
3 hours.
but let me plead devil's advocate, right? And this is not coming from a misogynistic point of view. The men's rumble is established. No matter how bad it could be, it's still the established rumble.
Right.
WWE has been on a hot track with the women's rumbles. Really, out of all of them that they've done, most of them are pretty good. I would say maybe one was I can't even think of it.
Rumbles?
The women's rumbles.
It was the nostalgia one. That was 2021, maybe?
That was the weird one, right? That it was
That was that Bianca. I think that was the year Bianca won, and it was the nostalgia rumble, and it was also Thunderdome.
It was Thunderdome. Okay, that makes sense. What happens if it's just not a good program? You know, your women's program is not that hot. For the world title, it's not hot. Whatever, you've seen a dip. You're going to have to balance that out, obviously. You're going to have to balance something night one, night two. How do you do it? Yeah.
2022. It was the Ronnie Rumble.
Okay.
Right. Sorry.
Oh, is that the one that she came in later and won?
Yeah, she came in late, she won, and then she wanted to go back on her bus and back on her baby. We've talked about this one a million
times. Got it. Yeah. Okay, that was the bad one.
Chat was right. They were 2022. It was
that was bad. It was over. The men's rumble sucked that year too. That was the one Brock came in.
Yeah, that was when Sean broke everything open.
Yeah. That was bad too. I'm just concerned with what happens if you don't balance this? You don't make it a captivating show for both.
Don't they have the star power to do that? Like, let's look at let's say they did it this year for some reason. You put Cody and Kevin, the ladder match.
Oh, you're great, fantastic. But what happens if you don't have that? You know, what happens if
then that's creative's fault. That's creative failure.
They're going to have to work really hard.
Yeah, well, good. They should. They get paid a lot of money.
I think the Rumble makes sense for a 2-night because it's, the emphasis is on the Rumble itself. You could expand that. I don't know. Do I want to see a 2-night War Games Survivor Series? That's
the thing. It really depends on the show that's up. Like if you're doing it in terms of what's going to happen first, it would be Rumble. SummerSlam obviously is next up because that's happening this year. Then it's probably going to be the Rumble. After that, probably going to be Money in the Bank. And I think if you do it, Survivor Series would be the last of it. And I don't even know if they would do that because War Games is just a thing. And people are kind of, poo-pooing on it now.
I think you run the risk of real burnout with this. Like WrestleMania is one thing because it's WrestleMania. But we're talking, go ahead, Joel.
You do, but you don't because they still sell these tickets at an extreme amount.
But let's look at if you start doing 2 hours or 2 nights for all these bigger shows, SummerSlam, Rumble, Survivor Series, we'll keep it there, and Money in the Bank. That's 5 shows, including WrestleMania. You got to also consider Raw is going back to 3 hours. SmackDown's going to 3 hours. You're doing a 3-hour SmackDown on top of a 2-night SummerSlam on top of a.
Keep in mind that the SmackDown 3-hour, this is supposed to be a pilot. I think a lot of people don't remember that the original reporting was that this was going until June. That this was not to stay.
Okay.
That was the original rumor, was that it was January to June, and then they're going to assess whether or not that's worth to keep going.
All right, well, that gives them a little bit of grace, but let's say they do continue and they keep it at 3 hours. Like, you're doing a 3-hour SmackDown, a Saturday night SummerSlam, a Sunday night SummerSlam, a 3-hour Raw, NXT's on 2. Like, that's a lot of wrestling over the course of 5 days there.
Well, that's also the state of pro wrestling now, right? Like we never, and again, talk about generationally different, right? Everybody here, we had just 2 products on TV. You had WCW, you had Monday Night Raw, and you had Nitro, and then they added Thunder, and then they added SmackDown, and that was it. And then you got a pay-per-view every month. But that was it. You didn't have you didn't have ECW TV because that wasn't a thing. It was local markets at 1:00 in the morning. I mean, until TNN, but I'm not even counting that. But growing up, you couldn't consume that much wrestling. The internet wasn't what it was. You had to become a tape trader. You had to find a place to do this. You would go on message boards and talk about, I remember hearing about Hayabusa before I even ever saw him. And then I saw him it was Heatwave 98. I saw that match and I'm like, oh my God, this guy's unbelievable. And then that's it. Never saw him again. CM Punk 2002, 2001, first time I heard of him. I remember I was on the WrestleZone forum and somebody described him as a Muay Thai boxer, like a Muay Thai fighter. That was his
Well, that
gimmick.
really worked out for him long term, didn't it?
Do you know what I pictured him as? This big, jacked up
American
guy
K-pop.
in Muay Thai pants with his hands wrapped and long hair. Little did I know we
You
got
some
film.
of it. You got some
We
of
got
it.
some of it. So really, perception is different. It was not available. OVW TV. Tell me now, where can I see those 2002 OVWs? Still, you can't.
What? OVW Plus?
Are those old OVWs on there?
No, there's
The
no
2002?
OVW Plus. The fuck
I
am
know, I know.
talking about?
But they have a website, they have content, they have TV. So I think we're consuming so much, and a lot of people are so jaded to everything, where everything is old, everything is meh, because you've seen it all day long.
But also, like, yes, but no, because for every this has been forever and ever, right? For every online fan, there is a casual fan, and the casual fans still go. They just don't talk about wrestling like we do, and that's okay. They go to the show, they enjoy it, they go home, and they live their life. Not like they're not subscribing to Select or to the Observer, to the Torch, whatever. Some of them do, but like not as many people are like watching our show or participating in post shows or doing stuff like call-in shows. Like they're not, and that's okay. Sports fandom is like that sometimes. You go, you buy your ticket, you watch the show, you cheer for who you're cheering for, you enjoy the entertainment, and then you'll go on with your day or your
You
life.
also don't even have to ever go to a show or watch it. You could just watch it abridged on YouTube.
Hell
You
yeah.
go on Twitter, you go on X, and you see the best ofs every day. It happening live. You
And
know how
the
I consume
innovation-
Dynamite some nights? On the train. I'm just on Twitter.
Yeah,
and that's how I'm
there.
consuming it until I get home.
Yeah.
To many people, that's enough. My daughter's godfather. He's like, he loves wrestling. He follows it. But you know how? YouTube and social media. That's it. He doesn't have time to sit there for 2-3 hours.
And that's why we can sit here and have a billion really funny or really silly ideas about what wrestling could, should, or has to be. But like, we're not the ones who are taste making this. The fans who are coming and doing that. Yeah, there are times where I'm like, we get it. And sometimes we're absolute clowns, and it's fantastic. But you know, we know our space here. We know what we're doing. We're not the ones who are changing the game, but we're also the ones who get to at least set a certain tone internally sometimes.
Yeah.
Like
By the way, I got to run and feed my children. It's
No, you
time for
don't.
lunch. But
Don't feed
a
them.
great Fightful Select article just dropped.
I mean, it's stuff we've been
On
talking about since
WrestleMania.
November.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's been talked about since November on our post shows.
Okay.
But we can talk about it so that I can change the graphic.
Whatever. I was just trying to give it.
We
give a
haven't even
plug.
talked
That's it.
about the graphic.
Oh, Ricochet got upset and now he's a murderer. I'm so excited. And I
Oh
just
yeah, isn't that great? Isn't he great?
Which part? The Pointer Sisters using scissor pointers? Now it's the Scissor Sisters.
The Pointer Sisters was fantastic. I can't believe people were complaining about it.
It was so stupid. I
fuck-
It's hilarious.
My wife is in the other room and I'm screaming, "The Pointer Sisters!"
Tony
And Elton
Khan's
John
nailed
is
the
back.
Andrew Zarian demographic at the very least.
I want It's Raining Men. I want YMCA.
No,
need to change-
we can't do YMCA anymore.
No, that's taken.
No,
That's
Triple
taken.
H
They
is gonna
do.
come
They
out.
do. It's Raining Men until the 9:30 spot, and then 9:30 they got to cut the song off.
Yeah.
Then
So
it's Raining Women. Yeah, then it's Raining Women. Then it's time
No,
for
it's
us.
Raining Women.
If you
All right,
like
love you guys.
pina coladas.
Bye,
Adios.
Zarian.
Bye, Zarian.
See you later.
Oh, I'm getting caught in the rain. Anyway,
All right, do you want to talk about the select report?
yeah, listen, Cena and Cody has been a plan that's been discussed for quite a while. Go over to FightfulSelect.com. Best $5 in the business for the next, what is that, 29 days. And then after that, it's going to be $6 a month. You can lock in now for $54 for the year, which equates to the $5 a month with a free month or whatever it is. Regardless, it's inexpensive and you get all the content and all the news. Yeah, John Cena, Cody Rhodes. That's been talked about quite a lot for WrestleMania, to the point where we've discussed it on post shows. Sean and Ibu have been doing that on the Raw post show. Currently, The Rock's not factored into WrestleMania plans. That can always change. But as of right now, talk is Cody, Cena. And I guess the question becomes, how do we get there? And does Cena win his 17th at this show, or is it somewhere else down the line for him?
John Cena should defeat Cody Rhodes and win his 17th world title.
Will he do it with the second rope leg drop?
Nah, he should hit that. Remember the punch?
Yeah, he comes back. I've got a
fifth
sixth
move.
The sixth move of Doom.
Yeah, the sixth move. Yeah.
And I'm gonna debut it in like Shanghai or some shit.
Yeah. He should bring that shit back. Just like, and then that's how Cody loses. Just one punch. I don't need this 20-minute masterpiece, alleged masterpiece. Just one punch. Bell rings, and then Cena just fires up, and Cody's like, "What's going on?" And Cena's like, "Ba-ba!" And that's it. Love it.
Honestly, I could see Cena winning. I could see Cody getting it back at one point before. Does this become a whole year-long feud where Cody then has to chase John Cena to take the torch back, and Cena says goodbye to the WWE universe with like, I beat the best and the best beat me, and that's it. Is that the story, or is it just Cena eventually drops the title? Or do they give him the Sting finish? Do they let him keep the title until his last day?
I think you kind of play that by ear. Right?
Okay.
Like, I'm sure they have some plans in place for Cena and what they want to do. And I'm sure Cena has stuff that he wants to do, even though he says, I'm going to let them do what they want. I'm going to, I'm just here for the ride type of thing. I'm sure Cena's like, yeah, I'd like to work with this person. Yeah, I don't know about this. How about we do this instead? Cena, right? But I do think you just kind of play that all by ear. They know they probably got WrestleMania sort of figured out. Triple H said last year he had the roadmap for October. In October, he had the roadmap. And then, of course, plans changed and everything. But I assume they've got WrestleMania stuff kind of pinpointed here of what they want to do. And then after that, you can afford to just sort of play it by ear and figure it out. If the reaction says, yeah, John Cena should just keep winning, John Cena keeps winning. If the reaction says, LA Knight is hot, you put the title on LA Knight. Like, you go by what the crowd says.
No, I don't know if it's going to be LA Knight that they go with.
Well, I just using, an example.
I know.
You never know who's going to get hot. That's my point. Is like, you just don't know who is going to get hot. Maybe LA Knight does get hot.
Maybe Joe Hendry gets hot.
Maybe Joe Hendry gets hot.
See how that goes. Actually, I made the point last night on the TNA post show. I really do think that they're going to give Hendry the title at Genesis. And for the first live TNA Impact in like however many years, I think they said 8 years, they'll have Hendry come out with a quote big announcement, title celebration, and he'll say, "I'm going to be the first TNA sitting men's world champion to go into the Royal Rumble," and he'll announce for the Rumble. It'll be a big moment, and then he'll eventually just drop the title to either Kazarian or he'll drop it to Santana at UBS. That's kind of where I'm at now. But yeah, JBL should come in and beat Joe Hendry. That's it.
They're gonna try to Cena's like, oh, I'm down to do whatever. I'm gonna let the creative minds be creative, and that's it. Where we don't. I'm just here for the ride. Just here for the ride. Just blessed to be in this spot. Triple H is gonna go to him, and he's gonna be like, John, here's what we're thinking for your last match. You remember how Kurt Angle wanted you for his last match, and we gave him Baron Corbin and did all this stuff for your last match? We're thinking you lose to Karrion Kross. How about that? What if you lose to Karrion Kross in your last match? Bet Cena says some shit then. Bet Cena's like, yeah, I don't know about that, brother.
Oh, I thought you were going to go with fine speech. And then John Cena lays out his creative plan. Like, for all intents and purposes, the plan has been outlined. It was outlined early. Cena came out at Money in the Bank last year in July. So this is my last full-time year. And then he sat at the press conference, and it was honestly one of the funniest press conferences ever, because he was like, I'm not leaving until I get every single question answered. And he was overriding the production crew who were like, wrap it up. And he's like, fuck no, we're going to keep going. That was the best part. But with Cena, and then Paul Levesque was like, yeah, we've been talking about this for a little while, and now's the time to do it. I think they had an outline, and I don't know if Cody and Cena was the outline, because obviously The Rock plays into this. But if it does play out, I'm fine with it. I like the idea of the next guy taking the next guy's sweater. See what I did there?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
But does Cena, not that he doesn't want it to be Cody, because there's obviously the easy argument for Cody. He's endorsed Cody. He loves Cody.
Yeah.
Does he feel he needs to make Cody?
No, because the story is to prove I am the best of all time, I have to beat the best right now. And right now, Cody, you're the best. I need to beat you because that cements that I can still go and I'm still the best. You could do Crisis of Conscience Cena, but the story becomes a mix of I'm not done yet, but I also need to show that I can still go. Because all the other stories they've told with John Cena have been like jokey joke, I get beat in the end type of stories. And what has that done for anybody? John Cena comes out unscathed because it's John Cena, but all the other talent just kind of got out of that. It didn't work. So this is maybe the time where John Cena and Cody tell a story where both men come out looking really good, and it's a proverbial passing of the torch.
I think Cena just beats him at WrestleMania. Maybe Cody gets the belt back, but I put the title on Cena.
I think they'll trade it. I do think they'll trade it. That's where I'm at.
So I guess my point is, let's say Cena wins at WrestleMania. You're basically saying he just drops it back to Cody later on. My argument is Cody's made. Cody doesn't need it. Why wouldn't Cena look at somebody? I don't know about Austin Theory or anything, but why wouldn't he look at someone who might be Braun Breaker? Braun can say it as well. Braun Breaker. Why wouldn't he look at Braun Breaker and be like, you know what? This is the guy we're going to make.
Sure. You could do that. You could absolutely do that. I'm not against it. To me, right now, the story, just again, first high angle view, what I'm thinking is Cena and Cody having a thing. But yeah, Cena would probably want to make the next guy. I just don't know if, because again, being the next John Cena, being the next the guy in WWE, that only comes every 10, 15 years. That's Cody right now. Do they want to cement that it's Cody? Or do they want to say it's Cody, but John Cena wants to find the other guy too?
Yeah, I think they've cemented it's Cody. I think
in a lot of ways they have.
I think you try to make as many people as you can.
But in doing that, you have to be careful because John Cena can't, lose every match because then doesn't.
No, and he shouldn't lose every match. That's what I'm saying. Like, if he just loses to Braun Breaker on this, then great. Like, I think Cena wrestling guys who are kind of already made. Cody's not going to lose anything losing the world title to John Cena at WrestleMania. Because the follow-up with Cody will be fine. Cody will always be fine because they're just not going to beat him at every single turn. They're going to always give him a big enough victory to where he's going to be good. CM Punk, Drew, someone you can't beat too often. Like that's where, they gave him the win against Punk, but then he lost 2 to Punk, but then he beat Sammy. And I assume he's probably going to beat Sammy again, or he's going to beat Jay, at Netflix. But I wouldn't beat Drew too often. Punk can lose a match against Cena. Again, Punk's someone who's fine. They're not going to beat him often enough to where it's like, ooh, what's wrong with CM Punk? Why is he losing? Same thing with Roman. Roman's not going to lose a bunch of matches in the between time. So like Cena can have these programs, Orton, another guy, and beat these guys and be fine. But then you come to a guy like Braun Breaker and it's like, all right, let's make this guy. Because Braun Breaker is different in that if he loses to Cena, he could get the Theory and Solo treatment of, we don't really have a follow-up for him. He lost to Cena and now we don't quite know what to do after this. And that's more concerning than Punk, Drew, Roman, Cody. You're going to get a follow-up with those guys.
What if Fred Rosser retires John Cena? What?
No.
What? No? People who get it. They understand.
No, I get it because he's Black John Cena.
Yeah, I know. They also have another guy that they've been calling Black John Cena for a while, but
I get it.
I don't know who inevitably gets
Jacob Fatu would
Fatu's another good
shout.
one. That was a good one. Carmelo Hayes is someone that I've been thinking about with John Cena. Maybe there is a story with those two because Melo.
There's a story, but I don't know if Carmelo Hayes is gonna like it.
But if there's a mentorship type of story in there, you have a year to tell it. I don't know how they want to do it or what they want to do with John Cena's time, other than
think
gonna have a world title run.
You gotta be careful again with beating guys that you don't have great big plans for. Again, that's why I said Drew, Roman, Cody, Punk, like they're always going to be factored into something. Braun Breaker, not always. I know he's the Intercontinental Champion, but like he's not always factored in to something. Carmelo Hayes isn't always factored into something. This is the thing with Austin Theory and Solo Sikoa when they beat Cena. Theory's not a guy who they were just always going to factor into something. It's like, we can kind of do stuff with Theory, but if we don't do anything with him, like it's fine. Solo at least had bloodline attachment, so he was factored in, but then they just beat him too often. Anyway, a guy like Carmelo, so this goes back to the point of, I joked about Karrion Kross being like, yeah, we want Karrion Kross to beat you. That's going to be a final match. And John Cena is like, I don't know about that one. And I've actually really come around on Karrion Kross because the more I listen to him in like wrestling stuff, like when the Sam Roberts interview was really good.
Yeah,
Karrion Kross seems what?
Yeah, he rules, Karrion Kross.
Yeah, he's great. Like the wrestling stuff doesn't always hit with me, but the as a person, I think he's very good. But this is where you have to be concerned about or be mindful about just pairing Cena with guys who you don't have real plans for, and then Cena beating them, or even them beating Cena and then not doing anything with it. So going back to the Corbin and Angle thing, it's like, okay, Baron Corbin. Well, what are you really going to do with Baron Corbin? And they didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know what. Again, I say it like I don't know what the expectation is for John's last year beyond. Comes in, wins a title, puts someone over, hopefully on the way out. There's a year's worth of story that clearly they want to tell. But if it starts with Cody and it ends with someone like Braun Breaker or Jacob Fatu or whoever, then great. They should do that. I'm curious as to what John's hope is in this last run, other than to be recognized as one of the best of all time.
John, just give me promos. I don't even need matches. That's what they should do. Forget these matches. Oh, let's see who can hang with John Cena in the ring. Now, who can hang with John Cena on the mic? Get out there and see, because that's where Austin Theory got killed. And that's where they should have called an audible and just had Cena win that match, because it was very evident that Austin Theory was not that guy on the microphone. And they did the match, and the match wasn't all that great. Cena didn't even have his, WrestleMania tan going on. He's like, this ain't that important. But just have people come out there and see if they can go with Cena on the mic. And if they can, they'll gain more out of that than beating him on the ring.
You know who goes hard on the mic? Cam Hawkins does.
Okay.
I'm sick of seeing me. It's so bad.
Why are you here? I mean, you're always welcome, but like, why?
What is up with us doing 5-hour shows this week? What's happening?
This has got to stop.
Oh, why am I here? Because I just had a thing come out.
Oh, I'm here to hear about your things.
Literally, like in the last, I don't know, 10 and actually 6 minutes ago. Hey, and the title is "Just Because You've Moved On Doesn't Mean Drew McIntyre Will."
Oh, yeah. You spoke to Drew? Yeah,
I spoke to Drew.
Let's look at
really,
this.
really fun conversation. What an intense individual. It's a big, scary man.
Did he call you a cool cat or kitten?
I was not a cool cat or kitten.
Wow.
You were neither. Wow.
Did not get to do that.
Okay.
So when we get on, and he's like home, I guess. I tell him the story from WrestleMania in LA, and I said, "Hey, I was leaving an event, whatever. I'm walking back to my hotel. I stopped by a bar, and you're in there. It's you and Sheamus, and you're talking to like an older gentleman, and they're in there. Yeah, they're throwing them back. They're fighting in like 2 days, but who cares, right? They're in there. They're throwing them back, and I just kind of started a gesture to say hi. Drew looked at me and said, like, didn't want to have a conversation right then. Great, perfect. So I told him about it yesterday, and he was like, I am so sorry. He was like, I do not know what we were talking about or who we were talking to. I really apologize. And I was like, dude, like, it's fine. Like, you were busy. Like, I pretty apologized for. But yeah, we talked about him being hater of the year, essentially. Why are you so upset at everybody? And it was really fun, man. Watching him, you can't even say figure it out because he's been getting better and better. Like, since he's gotten back, he got really good when he was in TNA, when he was on the Indies, when he was doing Evolve. But man, he's just on all cylinders, and his whole thing, and we even wrote about it, like, he's Frank Grimes. He's like, how do you all not see the terrible things that are happening around here and the people we're letting do them? Like, all of a sudden, and he literally says, all of a sudden, the bloodline's shaking babies and kissing hands, or is it the other way around? And we just act like that didn't happen. It was really, really fun, man.
I like that I just pulled the article up. You're already appealing to me by referencing The Wire in the first paragraph. Longtime viewers of this show who tuned in literally today know that I was teaching my kids life lessons from The Wire last night at the dinner table. So the fact that you start this with a Wire comparison, right up my alley.
That's my guy, Slim Charles. When I was, I'm from Southern Maryland. I was going to visit my mother's side of the family one summer, and this is like 15 years ago. Maryland is one of those real places, not like Texas, where like the liquor store might have a restaurant attached, because why wouldn't it? So we're going to get a couple of bottles, and like Slim Charles just comes out of the liquor store. And so I was like, hey, I'm a big fan, man. This is my Facebook profile picture for a while. And, we stood there and we talked for like 10 minutes. Like the nicest guy, because he's from Southern Maryland. He's in a big go-go band that I listen to. Just a really nice guy. So then he leaves, and my grandmother comes out of the restaurant, like my paternal grandmother, who I didn't tell I was going to be in the state. One of my favorite moments ever. Just entertainment and family all kind of intertwined. But yeah, once we started talking, man, I knew that was kind of the route I wanted to go, because, it's one of the best stories from The Wire. Slim Charles is this guy who's respected by everybody, even to the point where, like, when Omar had a gun to his head, he didn't cower. And so he got respect off of that. Always worked with the top crews. And the only time you really see him maybe kind of out of pocket is with Cheese, a person he can't stand and nobody can stand, that he finally got fed up with. And that is Drew right now, man. Drew is mad at everybody for everything. I don't think I'm not breaking any news because he said it, but like, we're talking, and I'm talking more story. I'm like, what is it about CM Punk that just gets under your skin? He was like, no, we got a real issue that I may never talk about, but yeah, it comes from a real place. I was like, oh, all right, great. But yeah, it was really interesting, him talking about Hell in the Cell, which is probably, I don't know if it's his best match, but it's absolutely the match where he got that kind of Mick Foley, Triple H respect, and you can go hard when you need to go hard, and you can really have that physicality. And he was like, yeah, I went and got 16 stitches, and I look up and nobody's even talking about it after it happened. So I think that comes from a real place of, how do I cement myself in the things that I do to where it's more than just winning matches and winning titles? What do I do to establish a feeling, an aura, establish a moment in time where people remember how I made them feel? And I think like that's what matters to him. And then one thing I didn't really get to figure in, one of my favorite things in Dragon Ball is when Vegeta finally goes Super Saiyan. And it didn't happen because of how hard he pushed. It happened because he let go of the things he thought were important. And that seems to kind of be where Drew is, and that I can't worry about titles and star ratings, every time I go out there. I got to worry about am I creatively satisfied with the things that I'm doing? Am I pushing this thing further than it's been pushed? So yeah, man, it was really fun to see somebody that confident in their abilities and that willing to say what I'm looking for right now is different than what a lot of people are.
It's a hell of a write-up. My God.
It man, and we it's probably the fastest turnaround that I've done for the Ringer.
Yeah.
Me and Drew talked yesterday at 11 a.m. And so, you know, Cal, my guy, we started probably really going in and editing about 3 o'clock yesterday. We both popped up at 9 this morning and got to it. So yeah, you were seeing something very much in real time that happened. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And again, I'm getting different things out of different people, I think. To catch him in this moment in his career, like knowing how much we've all appreciated him creatively this year. Yeah, it was really fun.
Did you did this on Zoom, right?
Yes.
This is a very important question. Did he still have his screen name set to Big Mac?
No, it was Drew.
It's over.
Big Mac, I love it.
That was his Zoom screen name for like the entire pandemic. It ruled.
Yeah. No, it was not Big Mac. It was just Drew, and he
stupid serious Drew.
I'm like, and you know, he took a little shot at me. It was really funny because Rose and Booster were in the back asleep, and so he's talking about like how he doesn't care what anybody thinks about what he's doing. He's like, my missus might care. He's like, yours might care too. She's over there asleep. I was like, yeah, she is Drew. But yeah, man, he you know, everything doesn't get in here, and I think I'll probably actually get to put this audio out because we're still trying to figure out how we're doing audio with Uncrowned as far as like the interviews go. With the Ringer, they're like, man, it's yours. Go ahead and do your thing. So we did, you know, we talked about Sheamus in their relationship, which was really cool. Yeah, it was, we probably talked about like 20, 25 minutes. Just really sat back and chopped it up. I got to show him his graphics from the very best wrestlers of 2024. And Greg gave those to him, so he really liked those. That was cool.
That's great.
So yeah, man, yeah, it was fun stuff. And then I look forward to, because one thing he did talk about, you know, he's like, you know, with new management, like we're given way more freedom to, you know, be who we are. And he's like, hey, if it works, it's great. If it don't work, they might kick my ass for it. I don't want to get fired. I don't want to get fined, but I do want to push this thing. So I'm interested to see with the move to Netflix, not just time-wise, but like creative-wise, who's going to push this thing? Who's going to showcase something that we haven't seen? You know, it's never going to be a perfect world where everybody gets the same opportunity, but I do want to see who's going to jump up. He talks about how that very first promo with him and Punk, it was like January the 6th or the 3rd or whatever the first Raw was. It was when they were in, I guess they were in, is it Seattle where Roddy Piper was the man, guys?
Portland,
Oregon. I apologize. So they were in Portland, and Punk was like, Roddy Piper's known for talking. CM Punk's known for talking. Drew McIntyre is not known for talking. And he was like, if you look at me right there, you can see something light up in my eyes. And so, of course, for the piece, we had to go back and look at it. Sure enough, Drew has been locked in since that day. He's just really focused. And he's like, I told Punk, like, this ain't the kid that you left. This ain't the kid who couldn't do all of the things necessary back when you were here before. This is different. And I think he's proven that to everybody beyond a shadow of a doubt. So, yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, yeah, people got to go check this out. Go, it's over on Ringer. And Cam, what's next? Who's next?
Who knows, man? Who knows?
Are you gonna retire John Cena? We were talking about that. Are you gonna be the guy?
Listen, man, get John Cena the fuck up out of here. Nah, I don't know, man. We were looking to do something for New Year's Evil. Time didn't really come together. It's a bit too quick for that. I don't know, man. I don't know. I want to talk to somebody in AEW about how they feel about, everybody's been high on the streaming. I really want to talk to Ricochet. I really do.
Careful.
He might be like,
He
he
might
be too deep
Can
in the
you-
game right now.
Can you ask him if the laugh is Jadakiss inspired? That's the only thing I want to know.
He is definitely there right now. I think I'd love to talk to him just because, he's more online than most, and it's definitely playing into what he's doing. But you're getting an opportunity to go have the fun that you wanted. But I think he'd be fun. I think that I still want to talk to Athena. I still want to talk to Willow. I just don't feel like. I think you've gotten the best CM Punk interview, and I don't know who that might be from, but I think you've gotten the best one. From whoever, right? Whether it's a podcast, whether he was speaking to somebody, whether it was just him on TV speaking his truth at an MMA fight, a boxing fight, whatever he was doing. I think you've gotten that. I did tell WWE though. I said, "Hey, when Drew wants to write the book, come to me." I was blown away by that guy, man, and just you don't realize these people are like 40 now because you watch them mature.
We talked about this earlier. We were talking about how a lot of wrestlers they are hitting their primes later in life and they're sticking with it longer, but there's a certain time. Like there aren't a lot of over 50 wrestlers that are still like actively going. There are a handful, and we named a bunch, but like now they're going into their mid to late 40s, and like that's the peak of their game. Drew's been at it for so long, and Drew also has the story to back it up. You mentioned it earlier, right? He got fired, he rebuilt himself, not just from a character standpoint, but from like a physical standpoint. He rebuilt his body, he rebuilt his look, and he came back to WWE, came into NXT, and he had a really great NXT run, came back to the main roster. They stuck him with Dolph Ziggler. It was what it was, but then he finally found his own just in time for the world to shut down. He's had a story that is unlike any others because of the circumstances surrounding it. And for that, you're right. When he writes that book, if he so chooses, there will be a lot of things that you never thought about until he tells it.
Yeah, man. Super underappreciated, but didn't go the route of telling you how underappreciated he was. He busted his ass and he showed it. So yeah, man, that was really, really fun. I love working with Cal on stuff like this, just to really bounce the ideas. You should have seen us take like the 20 minutes to come up with the title of this thing. But yeah, Drew not fucking with Jay. He not fucking with Jimmy. He not fucking with Sam. I love it. It's great. Definitely not fucking with Roman. But yeah, it was a really fun thing to do. And we'll see what the response is. So, guys, I'm gonna go eat lunch.
Me too.
And I'm still like at work. So I'm doing a million things. But thank you for your time. You guys check that out on the Ringer when you get a chance. Love everyone later.
Thank you so much, Cam. Always fun to have Cam Hawkins.
Yes,
all right. That was unexpected.
I always like when Cam pops on, though. That was a good piece. I didn't fully get a chance to take it in because I wasn't going to read it while he was on air with us. But I did see that he opened with a Wire comparison. I was like, well, this is right up my alley here. And good timing with today. I'm talking about the Wire.
Seriously. I got a chance to skim some of it while he was talking. And yeah, there's a lot of really good stuff there. Go check it out. It's on the Ringer. We only really have SmackDown to cover, and there's only 2.5 things.
Yeah.
Nakamura and Andrade, Women's Championship, Nia Jax and Naomi. SmackDown is 3 hours. Those are the big 3 things. Unless they've added something between now and earlier when we posted the rundown.
No, it's they're apparently doing, this is from WrestleVotes, a Bloodline 6-man.
Sure.
Yeah, with against Sammy and who'd they say? Sammy and the Uso, maybe Jay and sorry, as I stumble through looking for this. Okay, here it is. Sammy, Jimmy apparently. So Jimmy's cleared, and Braun is what they're saying against the Bloodline.
Well then, here we are.
There you go.
We did it.
Yeah.
We're not doing a 10-hour episode because I need to use the facilities and I need to make my lunch.
Okay.
Anything we need to plug? So
I don't
weekend.
think so.
We do have one more super chat. Ken had sent us one earlier saying the Monday Night Wars has rotted everybody's brains. I think especially when you talk about certain stories, when you talk about certain viewpoints, and when you talk about ratings, Monday Night Wars absolutely ruined a lot of people's viewpoints on wrestling. But that was a conversation. That was a holdover from the conversation with Andrew Zarian. Go backwards to check that out while you're leaving a thumbs up on the video on your way out. We do have main channel Monday this Monday. There will be plenty to talk about.
Zombie channel Jeremy with this weekend.
Yes, it'll be Zombie Monday. We'll have some Wrestle Kingdoms from Wrestling Dynasty, SmackDown to talk about. There's no Rampage to talk about. We'll have Collision to talk about. Raw will be upcoming, so we'll be previewing that big Raw that's going to be on Netflix. Yeah, we'll have plenty to talk about on Monday, but
we might do 10 hours on Monday.
Absolutely. Listen, kids back at school, so I can do it, but no, not doing that. I have bottles, but I don't have that many bottles. Anyway, Jeremy, any last words before you go into the void of a busy wrestling weekend?
Well, speaking of bottles.
Mana, the final boss. And here we go. This is how good. The final. God damn, that's good shit.
Mana, the final boss. And here we go. Because this is how good. The final boss. God damn, that's good shit.
Might be celebrating him next Wednesday. We'll see. Probably not. I don't know. Who knows? I got to go change the thumbnail to Cody and John Cena. You got to use the photo everyone else is using because there are barely any photos of them together. For Jeremy Lambert, I am at Joel Pearl. TheJoelPearl.com over on Blue Sky. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, enjoy your weekend. Go watch wrestling or don't. I don't care. But we'll see you on Monday for Main Channel Monday. Thumbs up, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.